Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
Well, you know you're in the Lone Star State when you see Sam Houston riding a horse, or perhaps bulls being tamed. That's right, the Yankees, weary travelers, have made their way to Texas to take on the MLB best Houston Astros. It's the Yankees against the Astros in the first game of a three-game set from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. Hey everybody, Ryan Rucco alongside Ken Singleton. Happy to be with you on this Friday night here for Yankees baseball on Yes. The Yankees were trying to win a series last night, could not quite do it, splitting 4 games in Chicago. They've had a lot of injuries, they've had a lot of usage out of their bullpen, and they really need Michael Pineda to try and get them back on track today.
Well, his last start wasn't that good, Ryan. They need him to bounce back. This is sort of a bounce-back start for Michael Pineda. Last start was June 25th at Yankee Stadium against the other team from Texas, the Rangers. It didn't go so well. 4 innings, 7 runs allowed, including 3 home runs off Michael Pineda. That was his worst start of the year, allowing the 7 runs. The Yankees need him to be more like himself, like he was in April and like he was in May. In June, he hasn't been that good.
Well, you talk about April and May, and the numbers were outstanding. 3-1 in both months, with ERAs under 3.5 in each month. But here in June, opponents hitting well over 300, and the ERA has skyrocketed to nearly 6. And for Michael Pineda, it will not be easy tonight because the Houston Astros are a ferocious offensive team. They have so much young talent, and certainly right in the center of it is shortstop Carlos Correa.
Yeah, the youngest shortstop in the league, and plenty looking at a future MVP tonight. At least that's what they thought here yesterday against the Oakland A's when he hit not 1 but 2 home runs, 2 two-run shots. He's got power to all fields. He went to right center, now he goes to left center. One of the best young players in this league, Carlos Correa, leaders of this Astros ball club.
Well, you take a look at his numbers when it comes to the offense amongst major league shortstops. He is top 3 in virtually every single category. Now, the Yankees may have lost a game last night, but that was not the headline. The main story, Dustin Fowler, his scary injury in just his 2nd inning of big league action. We'll get an update on the Yankees rookie from Meredith Marakovitz next here on Yes.
just very, just heartbreaking.
It just makes you sick, you know. About to debut, you're about to lead off the next inning, and then, you know, something like that happens. You know, it's tough.
I'm still in disbelief. I'm in tears for the kid. You know, I know he'll fight and get back here, but I mean, he's out for a while, and he has to go through a long, grueling rehab, and it just doesn't seem fair that that's what happened.
It's not something you want to see, and not something you want to see happen to anybody, much less a kid like that. So, you know, just continue to pray for him, and hopefully, like I said, he gets some decent news after his surgery.
There is good news on Fowler. There was no additional damage in the knee, and the surgery was successful. He's looking at about a 6-month rehab process. Joe Girardi said he spoke with him several times throughout the day, including at about 4:30 when the entire team went into the manager's office and they actually FaceTimed Fowler to send their well wishes. So with Fowler now on the DL, Andujar called back up. Also, Brian Mitchell called up, Herrera sent down, and Tyler Clippard is not with the team. He had a death in the family. Plenty more to come here on the Yes Network. When we get back, Ken Singleton will be joined by Ryan Ruocco in the booth, all after the break right here at Minute Maid Park.
Brought to you in part by Heineken. Open your world. By NYU Langone Orthopedics. And by the Ram Drive and Discover event going on now. Well, a hot, muggy day in Houston, Texas, but inside that Minute Maid Park, it is perfect. The Yankees getting ready to take on the Astros, the team with the best record in baseball, 54-26 they are this season. The Yankees did not arrive in Houston till around 6 a.m. last night after their long game in Chicago. But such is life in the major leagues. As we take a look at tonight's Yankees starting lineup presented by Lexus. At the top of the order, Brett Gardner, followed by Jacoby Ellsbury. Aaron Judge has reached base in 31 straight games. He's the DH again tonight. Joe Girardi said he expects to do that at least one more time in the next 5 or 6 games. Didi Gregorius will bat cleanup. Chase Headley hits 5th. Austin Romine behind the plate tonight. Joe Girardi saying Gary Sanchez just wanted to give a day after how late last night's game went. Then Ronald Torreyes at second, Tyler Wade at right, and Chris Carter rounds out the lineup at first base.
And the pitcher the Yankees will be facing tonight is right there in the middle of your picture, warming up, taking his final warm-up tosses. That is Lance McCullers Jr., and he is having a tremendous year. And he's been somebody the Yankees have had some problems with in the past. 14 starts. He spent some time on the DL recently with back spasms, but he's okay now. And you look at his numbers, 7-1, 2.53, 97 strikeouts in 81 2/3 innings. Let's check out the pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. How about this, Ryan? Grading on the curve. He throws his curveball about 46% of the time. He has one of the best in the game. It's a knuckle curve, and his knuckle curve very effective against right-handed batters. They're hitting 194 against him, and the only game he lost this year was at Cleveland on April the 26th when the Indians beat him by a score of 7-6. So he's having that type of year, one of the best young pitchers in this game.
Take a look at the defense behind him. It is presented by Geico. Really good defensive team for Houston. Gonzalez, Springer, and Reddick across the outfield. Bregman, Correa, Jose Altuve, and Gurriel. And then Brian McCann, a familiar face, will catch Lance McCullers Jr. Well, Brett Gardner and Brian McCann, very good friends, and you can see a little chatter already from those two. As Gardner, who had a couple of hits last night after starting the series 1 for 9 against the White Sox, will lead things off here against McCullers. And the first pitch is taken for a strike.
Look at Gardner, who went 3 for 14 in Chicago, trying to get hot, get it going again. He's been kind of streaky this year.
8 for 41 over a longer stretch. The 0-1. Chopped weakly right back to McCullers, and Gardner is retired. Let's take a look at the game time weather presented by City MD. Feeling under the weather? Just walk into City MD Urgent Care. And this is the weather outside. They wouldn't set it for 90 degrees inside. Inside, it's 73.
You know, you can only imagine what it was like when the Houston franchise came into Major League Baseball along with the Mets back in 1962, and they played outdoors here in Houston.
Not ideal.
No, not at all. I heard the mosquitoes were like 747s.
Here is Jacoby Ellsbury, 3 for 12 since returning from his concussion, and he takes a strike.
With all the injuries, the Yankees are certainly happy to have Ellsbury back in the lineup. As it's out for a while with that concussion and the symptoms.
That one's grounded right side. Altuve will get to it. And on 4 pitches, 2 outs for Lance McCullers.
Yeah, you mentioned that the Astros have a very good defensive team, and I guess you could go right up the middle with Altuve at second and Correa at short. And it's 2 of the best in the game at their positions.
Both young, dynamic athletes. Speaking of, here's another. Aaron Judge will draw a reaction now in any ballpark in this country. I think Canada as well.
Well, plus those watching around the world.
He takes outside, ball 1. Back-to-back days at DH for Judge. And a swing and a miss. 1-1 on Aaron Judge. Judge yesterday was walked with nobody on base, and it was the first time a Yankee has been given an intentional pass in that situation since Jason Giambi back in 2003.
I think one of the things that's happening lately, and look at some of the hitting numbers for the Yankees on this trip. Some of the guys are you know, a little cool right now, and I think that's why Judge is getting so many free passes. They just don't want to pitch to him.
2-1. Swing and a miss. That nasty curveball from McCullers, one of the best secondary pitches in all of baseball.
Here's another look at it. Watch the break on this. Sharp, quick. He throws it very hard up at the upper 80s, and with a good break to it. Tough to handle for right-handed batters.
A 2-2. Off the corner with a fastball crackling at 97 miles an hour, and what do you know, another full count for Aaron Judge.
Well, I was going to mention not only do the curveball he throw it very hard, but his fastball is up in the upper 90s, so that makes him difficult for hitters to deal with.
And Judge, ever patient, walks, and he has been on base now in 32 straight games.
The Judge draws another walk. And when the Yankees can get somebody red hot behind him, and to give you an example of it, we talk about every once in a while the 1961 Yankees with Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle.
Right.
Roger Maris that year batted third, Mantle batted fourth. Maris went the whole season without an intentional walk because Mickey Mantle was batting behind him.
And we saw Sanchez behind Judge for a couple of games.
I think you'll see more of that.
I think you may see a lot of that for a lot of years. Didi Gregorius actually has good numbers against McCullers. Limited sample size, but 3 for 5.
Well, he's not. He's one of the few Yankees because McCullers has very good numbers against the Yankees. He hasn't lost to them. He's 2-0 with an ERA of 0.75. Although, even with McCullers, the Yankees have played well in this park since it's open. I think they're 11-5 here.
That's right. The 1-0 is a little up, a little out, and it's 2-0 on Gregorius. And those are the numbers for McCullers in his 2 starts against the Yankees. 1 last year, 1 this season. Judge leads off first. The 2-0. Check swing. 2-1.
Yeah, Didi's hit one of those spells too. He's 9 for 45, and one thing I've seen, when he's really hitting well, he can drive the ball to the opposite field, get solid base hits, as well as pull the ball with as well as any left-handed hitter. But lately he's been playing underneath the ball to left field and getting lazy fly ball outs to left field instead of line drive hits.
2-1 from McCullers. That's a good rip. Fouled it right back.
That ball hung a little bit. This is the when you do this as a hitter, you're oh man, could I have that one back? Give me another swing at it.
Especially against a guy who does not make many mistakes. Only Michael Fulmer has allowed fewer home runs per 9 innings this year than McCullers as far as AL pitchers go. Gregorius flips that left side on the move, and making the catch is Bregman for the final out of the first. So a 2-out walk from Aaron Judge, but no damage done. Michael Pineda takes the hill in the bottom of the inning. We'll take a look at the Astros lineup that he is going to face. This is a team that does damage, and George Springer, chief among those damage doers. Josh Reddick will hit behind him. Jose Altuve hitting .381 since May 27th. He bats third. Carlos Correa, a couple of home runs yesterday, bats cleanup. Brian McCann and Carlos Beltran back-to-back. Then Marwin Gonzalez, Yuli Gurriel, and Alex Bregman round out the Astros lineup.
Michael Pineda gets the start, and he'll be in there against these Astros tonight. As Ryan told you, a very good hitting team. There are the numbers so far this year. This will be start number 16. 7-4, 4.12. That ERA has been creeping up. Yankees wanted to go back down. Opponents hitting .254. Let's check out the pitcher scouting report brought to you by your Tri-Honda dealers. The Texas two-step. Now, his first step was against the Texas Rangers. That didn't go so well. The Yankees would like to see him pitch well against the other team in Texas, the Houston Astros tonight. As I said, a bounce-back start. He's got to get going, much in the way he pitched in April and May. And Correa has been a problem for him in the past. Carlos Correa is 6 for 10 with 2 doubles and 3 home runs off Michael Pineda.
And George Springer has been a problem for everyone in the big leagues, especially leading off games. 9 home runs leading off games already this season. And the first pitch poured in there for a strike from Pineda. The major league record for most leadoff home runs in a season is 13 by Alfonso Soriano.
Yeah, they've jumped out to a 1-0 lead pretty quickly in most games. He's having a very good year. There's the 13 by Soriano. Brady Anderson with 12 and 96. He had 50 home runs that year. And by the way, the 9 home runs leading off, it's a team record.
Broke Craig Biggio's record. So Josh Reddick on deck. 2-1 is low. And Pineda behind 3-1. He has had struggles in the first innings of games. First 2 innings, his ERA is over 7. After that, it's at 2.5. A 3-1. Grounded hard and fair inside third and down the left field line. Springer with great speed isn't even going to have to show it off, as he will break it down at second with a double. And George Springer stays red hot. A leadoff double against Michael Pineda. As we take a look at the Yankees defense, that will be behind Pineda, presented by Geico. Brett Gardner in left field, Jacoby Ellsbury in center. Tyler Wade gets the start in right. Headley, Gregorius, Torreyes, Chris Carter, and then Austin Romine catches Pineda.
Here's a look at the double, and as Ryan said, Springer's been hot. So have several other Astro hitters. This team comes in with the highest team batting average in the league, most home runs, most runs scored. These guys can really do damage on offense.
And here's Josh Reddick, who has been red hot. He leads the American League in batting average in the month of June, .397. And he takes strike 1.
And when you look around the dimensions here at Minute Maid Park, it's a hitter-friendly ballpark. The left field, it's close, 315 down the line. Right field, fairly close down the line and in right center. You keep the ball away from center field, you have a pretty good shot at hitting it out of here.
And even center field is more friendly than it used to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Towles Hill is gone. 0-1. Grounded to the right side. That'll do a job as Springer moves to third, and Reddick is retired.
You know, I was going to say, now we're getting into the heart of the lineup, but the heart of the lineup starts at the top with Springer.
And you don't have any time to breathe.
No.
Especially with this guy, Jose Altuve. And the infield in for the Yankees here against a really good starting pitcher in McCullers. With 1 out, the Yankees will take their chances.
I think Joe Girardi realizes, you know, their chances might be limited, so you're going to have to cut the chances down for the Astros, bring the infield in with Altuve at the plate.
Slider down in the dirt, 1-0 on Jose Altuve.
Yeah, all he's done in his last 13 games is hit 400, Altuve.
He is on his way to his 5th All-Star game. Almost certainly will be the starter at second base. That'll be announced Sunday night. A 1-0.
And this guy is a hitting machine. He's got 98 hits. This is exactly the halfway point for Houston tonight. This is their 81st game, so he's kind of on pace for yet another 200-hit season, which would be his 4th in a row.
You see how consistent he has been. He reworked his training and his body before that 2015 season and has just taken off. Good fastball on the inside corner from Pineda, and he gets the call.
And that's Mark Wegner behind home plate tonight. Altuve, of course, I think generous when you say he's 5'8".
Yeah, I think more like 5'6".
Yeah, well, dynamite comes in small packages, I'll tell you that.
1-2. Grounded hard and foul. Count still remains 1-2.
I was talking to Robert Ford and Steve Sparks, who do the Astros on radio here in Texas, in Houston, and I asked them who's the most popular player on the team, and they both said Altuve, but they said that Springer and Correa are sneaking up on him, that they have that type of team. There's Correa on deck. Several players are very popular in the community, particularly those three, but Altuve is number one, and he got the biggest cheer so far when he came up to hit.
So good, young, talented choices.
Well, he's been here the longest of those three as well.
That is looped in the air. Center field. Ellsbury will make the grab and will not even attempt to throw as Springer tags, and the Astros have a 1-0 lead.
So they kind of manufactured a run, a leadoff double. Reddick got the job done, getting Springer to third on a ground ball to second. And Altuve, who is hard to strike out, he's going to make contact, hits one to medium deep center field, and the Astros are on the board. Very solid fundamental team. On defense they're good, offense they're outstanding, and they put the ball in play. You know, a couple of years ago they were one of the striking outest teams in the league, but they've kind of turned that around.
Tyler Kepner had a great story about that in the New York Times today.
Yeah, I read that one. Yeah.
They have totally changed their philosophy. They struck out the fewest of any team in baseball so far this season.
Tyler's a good writer. He picks up on those offbeat stories.
That's right.
Yeah.
Carlos Correa has hit in 9 straight. You see the numbers on the Astros offense, leading the league in slugging, but have struck out the fewest times as that's lifted in the air down the right field line, and that'll make the seats as Tyler Wade cautiously goes over there. You see only the 48 Yankees and the 95 Indians have led Major League Baseball in slugging and also had the fewest amount of strikeouts since 1911.
That's power with contact. Which you don't see much of these days. You see the power, but you see a lot of strikeouts.
Right. GM Jeff Luhnow was talking about it and said, you know, I decided I just wanted guys who made really hard contact.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's one of them.
That one's meek. And Gregorius will take care of it to end the inning, but the Astros do get on the board. George Springer, a leadoff double, and Houston turns it into a run, 1-0 as we head to the second. As the Miami Marlins battle the Milwaukee Brewers, coverage starts at 3:30 on FS1. Then at 7, watch Aaron Judge and the Yankees take on Jose Altuve and the Astros in the middle game of this series exclusively on your local Fox station. and a man who will be a part of that broadcast, Fox senior MLB insider, also does great work for MLB Network, Ken Rosenthal joining us. Good to have you here, Ken.
Thanks for having me.
Now, it's just about to get very busy for you, I would imagine. We are, about a month away from the trade deadline, and certainly these two teams, the Astros firmly in front in their division and the Yankees one game in back of Boston, could be teams in the mix. Start with Houston, what they've been able to build this year. A lot of injuries to the starting rotation. How likely do you think it is that they go out and try and get a starter?
It's likely they pursue it. I don't know if it's likely they do it if they feel the price is too high. If they simply think that Quintana or Sonny Gray, the two controllable starters currently available, are going to cost a king's ransom, you think about it, guys, they're going to the playoffs.
Right.
So they would be acquiring a pitcher not to make the playoffs, but to win the World Series, and we all know how difficult and random that can be even when you have the best team. So, granted, those guys are controllable. You'd have them for extra years. But they've got Keuchel coming back, McHugh coming back, Morton coming back. Maybe they just go get a lefty reliever, a shutdown guy, and they build the bullpen that way and try to win it with offense and bullpen and some really good starting pitcher.
Headley rolls out to begin the inning. Well, one of the names that we've actually heard brought up this year when it does come to potential deals with Houston is Alex Bregman, their talented young third baseman. Could you see him being an option on the table for Houston?
No, and I'll tell you why. And someone pointed this out to me. It's not an original thought of mine. But they wouldn't trade Alex Bregman for Chris Sale. So if you're not going to trade Alex Bregman for Chris Sale, there is not a deal you can make that's going to be nearly that good. And you're going to have to answer the question, wait a second. We're trading Alex Bregman for pitcher X when we could have had Chris Sale? And I still see them as viewing Alex Bregman as a future star. And a guy who is not Aaron Judge, but their version, their young guy who's coming up on the rise. Benintendi type, somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, he's the youngest starting third baseman in the league, so you got to give him some time to develop into what you think he might be as a #1 draft pick of the past.
And I remember last year walking into their clubhouse in September, and Correa and Altuve both were saying, this guy's a future batting champion, you watch. Is he going to hit 30 home runs? Maybe not, but he'll hit well enough to justify playing that position for sure.
Are you sure Altuve wasn't speaking of himself?
Altuve was a past batting champion.
Yeah, well, he's done it once. Maybe he'll do it again.
But I would say that Altuve would have the ability to recognize such an animal.
Okay.
Now, Ken, we obviously get to watch Aaron Judge every day as Romine goes down swinging. I'm curious, as you go from ballpark to ballpark and clubhouse to clubhouse, what is the reaction around the league been to the performance of Judge thus far this season?
What you might expect. Astonishment, a little bit of awe, and a lot of people in the game just are surprised somewhat that he's come this far this quickly. We all remember last season, struck out in half his plate appearances, was not the guy he is now, guy who drew 10 walks his last 5 games, and of course has the 27 homers. And what's been really cool, beyond Aaron Judge, is the West Coast Aaron Judge coming on as well, Mr. Bellinger. And to have two guys coming into the game at this moment like that, it's pretty unusual to say the least. I can't remember something like this happening. And they're both well-spoken guys you want representing your team. It's just been a really refreshing thing for the sport.
Real quick, as McCullers mows through, do you see the Yankees going after a first baseman at all in the trade market?
Well, I'll stay another half inning.
You don't have to. Torreyes beats it out on the high throw from McCullers. And the Yankees have their second base runner, a 2-out walk in the first from Judge, and now an infield single from Ronald Torreyes.
Well, Torreyes, as we know, is going to put the bat on the ball. Sometimes he doesn't hit it very hard, but he didn't need to here. Once he got it past McCullers, he couldn't do it, but he has the speed to beat it out. The throw is high. Gurriel had to go up and get it. And Torreyes has the first Yankee hit of the evening as he beats out an infield single.
Okay, to answer the question, it's possible they get a first baseman, but most teams can figure out first base. And granted, the Yankees have some unusual challenges there this year, but if they're going to spend prospects, I would expect that they would expend the prospects on pitching, whether it's starter or relief or both. And that has to be the greater priority. Could they live with Chris Carter the rest of the year? Fans might not like watching it every day. It's a tough thing to watch. I understand that. But if it meant getting a starter and a reliever, that would seem to be a greater priority than giving a lot for Yonder Alonso or someone like that.
Ken Rosenthal, MLB senior insider for Fox and MLB Network, joining us. He will be part of the booth that will call the action tomorrow on Fox between the Yankees and the Astros in the middle game of this 3-game set. And one of the teams I think about is the Royals, because Eric Hosmer was a name that was mentioned off. But now that the Royals have vaulted back into contention, you wonder, as Wade grounds that one to first, Gurriel will not beat Wade to the bag. What speed from Tyler Wade as the little bobble cost Gurriel, and the Yankees have 2 on with 2 out.
Yeah, we saw this speed way back in spring training with Tyler Wade. This young man can really go down the line. He also steals bases. I think he was 24 out of 28 down at AAA. And Gurriel with the little bobble. Then another problem here, he misjudges the speed of Wade. Maybe doesn't know him very well. Just got to the big leagues a couple of days ago. But there's the example of how fast this young man can run.
He's an impressive guy. I spoke to him for the first time today, and he said he likes this role. He loves this role. He sees Brock Holt and Ben Zobrist winning World Series, and he has no problem with it whatsoever, which is kind of interesting that the Zobrist-Holt model is now something that younger players view as a positive and not a negative.
I was talking with Wade about that today, and he said when he first talked about playing all the different positions, he had people saying to him, oh, it's career suicide. And he was like, no, you don't understand. It's different in today's game.
I think Zobrist is a little different than Holt, though, because Zobrist, turned it into an art form. He was a everyday utility player. You didn't know where he was going to play when he came to the ballpark, but he knew he was going to play. Holt maybe didn't know he was going to play every single day. So Zobrist, I think, is the prime example of a utility player who is so valuable to his team.
No, I would agree with that, Ken. He's an unusual guy, no question about it.
Marwin Gonzalez has kind of become that for
and
he's
having
Astros.
An amazing year.
Yeah. Incredible. So I'll go back to the Royals for you.
Yes, sorry about
for a minute, Ken. No. Do you see them selling with the way they've gotten back into contention?
Not today. Now, if they collapse in the next month, all bets are off, and things will change every which way over the next month with a number of teams, probably all 30. But they're a very interesting organization. They believe in what they have. They have nurtured what they have, of course, to 1 World Series appearance, 1 World Series title, 2 years in a row. They want to take this shot. And they also believe, rightly or wrongly, that they're going to be able to re-sign 1 or more of these guys. Now, I don't see it being Hosmer and Moustakas. They're both represented by Scott Boras. I just can't imagine that the Royals can win those bidding wars.
Oh, that's thrown into center field. Torreyes will take off for third. Tyler Wade moves to second. And the second error of the inning for McCullers, as the Yankees now have runners on second and third and a 3-0 count with 2 outs here on Carter.
So anyway, will they sell? I doubt it. They're in a division where no one has run away, where Cleveland has yet to really establish that it is the obvious favorite, though we all consider them as such. So as of now, no, they keep it together.
They are 3.5 back of the Indians right now in the Central, as the 3-0 is in there for a strike. 3-1 on Chris Carter, his first at bat back after being DFA'd by the Yankees and then brought back with Tyler Austin going on the disabled list. Greg Bird still not even playing in rehab games, never mind back here with the Yankees. Big spot here for Carter as he hits that ball hard, but right to Correa. And Correa will throw out Carter to end the threat. Ken, thank you for all the info. We'll be watching tomorrow.
Thanks very much.
All right, it'll be Yankees and Astros on Fox with Ken and the gang tomorrow. We go to the bottom of the second here. conversation brought to you by Toyota. Prius Prime is the official hybrid vehicle of the New York Yankees. We've been asking on Twitter from our account at Yes Network, should Major League Baseball legislate more padding down the lines at ballparks in the wake of Dustin Fowler's injury? And you guys have been responding, including Hal Hansen, who said yes, any simple ballpark fix that improves player safety, like more wall padding, is a no-brainer. Follow Yes Network and tweet us your responses using the hashtag #YankeesPriusPrime to keep the conversation going.
I got to admit, I kind of predated the padding of the walls in the outfield. But
Can fouls one back.
But once outfielders started making pretty big money, they started padding the walls.
Well, and that was something that Joe Girardi talked about last night after the game, that, you know, those low walls he really thinks are something that may have to be looked at because they are dangerous for outfielders. We saw Carlos Beltran get hurt that way a couple years ago.
Yeah, Dustin Fowler last night showed you an example of what got him to the major leagues. His heart, his hustle, the ability to run and play defense. And it kind of cost him in a way that you wouldn't expect by running into that wall.
That is fair. Carter will glove it and beat McCann to the bag for the first out. Let's take a look at tonight's injury report, brought to you by Montefiore, doing more in state-of-the-art healthcare. And you see Dustin Fowler ruptured his right patella tendon in the first inning last night. Placed on the DL today. He's out for the season. Did undergo successful surgery, and we'll get a little more on Fowler from Meredith Morakovitz.
Well, it looks like it's going to be about 6 months for Fowler, and Joe Girardi said earlier that he had talked to him several times throughout the day. Obviously, a ton of concern there, and the team actually FaceTimed Fowler at about 4:30 local time. Joe Girardi said he thought it was important for him to see the team and for the team to see him. He's still in the hospital in Chicago, but is expected to leave soon, and Joe Girardi said you'll likely see him in New York when they get back from this homestand. But it's going to be a long rehab process. But several guys in that clubhouse talked about the work ethic that Fowler has, the way he got to the big leagues, really pushed himself up here. It wasn't necessarily originally on the radar to be on this team this year. So they think that he's a guy that is capable and has the desire to work his way back.
Well, it's interesting just hearing Tyler Wade talk about it, who's a really good friend of Dustin Fowler's. When he was asked about whether or not Fowler will bounce back from this, he seemed with total conviction to know Fowler's work ethic and that he will be back.
And he's a guy that said he couldn't even look at the injury, Ryan. He said still today when they were playing it on the TV in the clubhouse, it makes him sick to his stomach. He doesn't even want to see it. He's been in correspondence with them, and he had no doubt, like you said, he believes that he is going to be able to make a full recovery. And there are a lot of people pulling for him, not only with the Yankees organization, but anybody that saw that injury. Your heart has to break for a kid that worked so hard to get up there, and it was going to be his first major league at-bat to lead off the next inning.
Carlos Beltran strikes out. You know, Ken, one of the interesting comments I thought from Fowler was something he said to Kevin Kernan of the Post, and he said he felt that love that Meredith was describing from everybody because there's no circles on this team. He said, I came up, instantly felt like one of the guys was essentially the sentiment of what Fowler was saying.
Well, some of his former teammates down at AAA and throughout the Yankee organization are here in the big leagues. You know, Aaron Judge and some of the others that are on this ball club. You mentioned, you know, Wade. But the fact is that when you come through an organization, there's a certain bond that you have, and you're all trying to get to the big leagues. And he did it, and to have that injury in the first inning of, you know, his career in the major league level. But as I said, not many outfielders would have attempted to make that catch.
Right.
As fast as he was moving, and just a misjudgment on his part that cost him dearly.
And in addition to the low wall, there was that electrical box that was out there as well.
Right, there was an electrical box in between the two railings of the wall, and they believe that's what he really ran into. And Joe Girardi said if that's not there, maybe he's still injured, but probably not as severely as he was. And that's something that Joe Girardi really said they need to take a look at. We need to protect our players. And it's funny, I talked with Fowler.
Line drive base hit to right field by Gonzalez, 2-out single.
And you'll see it here last night if you can stomach watching it. And I spoke with him earlier in the day, Ryan, and I asked him, new field, never been here before. Are you going to go out there for a while and just get acquainted with the field, kind of check out the dimensions and see what's out there? And he said, absolutely, I want to spend some time out there. But then there was no BP. There was a long rain delay.
Yeah.
You wonder how much he walked around there, and that played a role because he went so hard into that wall, it almost looked like he didn't know it was coming. He's a hard player, but that was rough. You just wish him the best in a speedy recovery.
No question about it. I mean, to a man, everybody around the organization was sick to their stomach for that kid. And Ken, you can relate to that moment, your first big league game, what that's like after you work your whole life, and to have it happen like that.
Well, it all starts when you get the news that you're going up to the big leagues. And, you know, many years ago, it was about this time of year that I got called up to the major leagues. Played my first game at Wrigley Field.
Gurriel waves and misses. Good slider from Pineda, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, one thing about Gurriel, his at-bats have a tendency to end quickly. He's up there to swing the bat. I think he sees just over 3 pitches per at-bat, which is the lowest in the major leagues. And there's some guys who are free swingers in this league, but he is maybe the best of the worst.
Gonzalez started to take off, and Pineda stepped off. Looked like he was peering in, creeping, and then actually took a hard step or two towards second.
Gonzalez with that hit now has a 9-game hitting streak. I mentioned a lot of these Astros are swinging the bat well. Gurriel is too.
That's why they're 28 games over 500 as Gonzalez goes, but Gregorius snares the liner, and that will end the inning. So the Astros strand a runner. We are through 2. It's 1-0 Houston as we head to the 3rd. Top of the 3rd. Hey fans, the Yankees have announced that this coming Monday, July 3rd, the team will be hosting a Yankees batting practice block party before the 7:05 game against the Blue Jays. So here's how it's going to work. Gates 6 and 8 will be open at 4 p.m. That's 1 hour earlier than usual, so that fans will be able to watch the Yankees take batting practice from basically everywhere in the outfield. Wow. Select current Yankees players as well as Yankees alumni are going to greet fans, sign autographs, pose for photos. The first 2017 fans who enter the stadium via gates 6 and 8 between 4 and 5:30 will each receive a voucher valid for 2 tickets to a game. Later in the season, there's going to be different food deals and merchandise deals, and the idea is this. You know, you get to have a block party, basically. It's the Monday before 4th of July, and you get to go see Aaron Judge take batting practice and Gary Sanchez take batting practice, because the Yankees know sometimes when you get into the stadium regularly, those guys are finishing up. So here you are getting to watch them in full, and it is a show when those 2 guys in particular are hitting in the cage.
Yeah, bring a glove.
Yeah. Don't try and catch 120-mile-an-hour exit velo with a bare hand. You know, Ken, that's such a fun thing for any young fan, always trying to get to the ballpark early enough to see batting practice. The Yankees just want to give you a chance to get to see a guy like Judge take his full BP. Gardner loops that into shallow right, dropping quickly. The diving catch not made. Gardner never stopped running, and he has a double.
Good effort by the right fielder Josh Reddick, who is one of the better fielding right fielders in the league. He's getting up slowly. He might knock the wind out of himself with the all-out effort to make this play. Looks like Springer is saying he's okay. Here's the effort. Looked like he got a glove on it, but couldn't hold on to it. And give Gardner credit. Man, he hustled into second with a two-base hit. Reddick couldn't get much on the throw. And Gardner's on with a leadoff double here in the third inning.
Reddick just returned from a concussion recently. Kept his head above the ground there. That was the first ball hit out of the infield by the Yankees against McCullers. Turns into a double, and now an opportunity for Ellsbury. And he takes a curveball for a strike.
Well, the Astros turned a leadoff double by Springer into a run in the first inning. Let's see if the Yankees can move Gardner around from second base.
Judge on deck. Gregorius bats cleanup. No Sanchez in the lineup today after the late game last night. Joe Girardi decided to give him a day. High with the fastball, 1-1.
Yeah, what'd you say? The Yankees arrived at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I mean, the sun's coming up. I mean, the milkman's already delivered the milk and papers waiting for you when you get to your hotel room.
Well, the Astros had a day game at home yesterday, so they got a nice dinner and were comfortably in their beds. As Ellsbury looks at ball 2 from McCullers. You want to take advantage of opportunities like this against McCullers, who has been dynamite this season. And Ellsbury looks at ball 3, 3-1.
Yeah, steady diet of curveballs. When McCullers seems to get in trouble, he's going to the curve, whether it's a left-handed or right-handed hitter.
And you would think with Aaron Judge on deck, Ellsbury may see a very good-looking pitch here on 3-1. And McCullers will step off.
McCullers from Tampa. Went to Jesuit High School.
'41st overall pick, the year the Astros took Carlos Correa first. Gardner leads off second to 3-1. He's a breaking ball. That's what you're talking about,
Yeah.
Ken. That is not what you're expecting 3-1.
Well, with him, you kind of have to, because he's going to throw it, what did I say, 46% of the time? That's almost half the time. He has great confidence in his breaking ball. You know, I think he's thinking fastball, he's just going to pull it on the ground to the right side. You know, Gardner will be at third base.
A backdoor curveball clipping the outside corner, so it sets up 3-2 on Ellsbury. Pitch. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did, and Ellsbury is retired.
Second strikeout of the night, and what was it? Yep, another breaking ball. Ellsbury tried to hold up, went around too far.
Aaron Judge could be headed for some pretty incredible company. The only players to lead the American League in homers, walks, and runs: Babe Ruth, Ted Williams, Lou Gehrig, Hank Greenberg, and Mickey Mantle. Right now, Aaron Judge leads in all of those categories, and he has a pretty nice lead in all of those categories right now.
Babe Ruth did it 7 times.
Judge swinging, just missed it, fouled it straight back.
Yeah, that was a fastball, and that's the type of fastball that he hits to the opposite field for home runs. Yeah, first.
Yeah. Batting average, homers, ribbies, runs, walks, OPS.
You know, we talked about the Yankee rookie record for home runs. Joe DiMaggio in 1936 hit 29. I think the record, another record you should be thinking about that Joe DiMaggio set that year for a rookie, was runs batted in. He had 125.
Judge was looking for a couple more there. 0-2 as McCullers has gotten ahead.
See, all those big time names on that list, it looked like it might have been a changeup.
He's been throwing more of them this season. Gardner leads off second. Here's the 0-2 to Judge. Line just over the head of Tony Pena as Judge stays alive.
He kind of squibbed that off the end of the bat. He's kind of smiling down at Tony down there, and Tony doesn't want to look at him.
Judge trying to get his attention. The difference in the comfort this year, even in an 0-2 hole for Aaron Judge. That's something we've seen game in, game out. It's no foregone conclusion when he's behind in the count like this. As this time Judge does go down. Looked like that change again from McCullers. And he has struck out Ellsbury and Judge back to back.
Yeah, after the leadoff double, he's come up big with a couple of strikeouts. The ball running in on the hands of Aaron Judge. 3 strikeouts on the night from McCullers. He now has 100 on the season. And if he stays healthy in the second half, he's probably going to have himself a 200 strikeout season.
Now he usually throws the two-seamer closer to 94 miles an hour. That was only 91, so you wonder if it wasn't a change.
Well, maybe either that or he's looking to get more movement on it.
Now here's Gregorius.
Didi had a 5-game hitting streak broken last night, but we've seen him swinging the bat better during the course of the year. Or the course of the last 2 years, really.
Gregorius hits that hard and fair inside first and down the right field line. Gardner will score easily. Gregorius a headfirst dive into second with an RBI double, and this game is tied at 1.
Yeah, just when McCullers thought he was out of the woods with the 2 strikeouts after the leadoff double, Didi Gregorius gets a pitch in the middle of the plate and rakes it down the first base line. Gurriel had no chance at first base. So Reddick makes a nice throw to second. It was offline. This would have been a closer play if the throw was on line, but Didi in with the double, and the Yankees have tied the game.
A big 2-out hit from Didi Gregorius, batting cleanup today, and he is now 4 for 7 in his career against McCullers.
Right man at the right time.
Here's Headley. Waves and misses at that nasty hook. A lot of strikes from McCullers. 50 pitches though after the Yankees were able to use a couple of errors from Houston in an infield single to manufacture a little rally that fell short in the second. Another beautiful breaking ball, and it's 0-2.
It's almost, you got to look for that first. It's just a lot of hitters will go up and look fastball and adjust to everything else, because if you look off-speed pitches, and you're not going to be able to be on time for the fastball. But he's got such a sharp breaker, and he throws it pretty hard.
The 0-2 is high. Would you do that against him?
Oh yeah,
Ken?
of course. I always look fastball every pitch, because I knew I was a good breaking ball hitter, and I knew the pitchers knew it, so I didn't get that many. So it was either fastball or changeup. But the pitchers who have good breaking balls like he has, like a Ron Guidry slider or a Steve Carlton slider or a Bert Blyleven curve, they're going to throw them anyway, because those are Hall of Fame type pitches. And even the best breaking ball hitters, they'd have problems with it.
Nice backhand there from Bregman, and he fires out Headley to end the inning. But Didi Gregorius comes through with a 2-out ribby double, and the Yankees have tied it at 1. by City MD. If you need a doctor, just walk into City MD Urgent Care. And by Honda, great deals are waiting for you now at your local Honda dealer. Bottom of the third inning in Houston. Yankees tie the score at 1 apiece. 2-out double by Didi Gregorius.
Let's take a look at the Astros team scouting report presented by Jeep. And Power Plus, I've already mentioned it. They lead the league in home runs scored, but they also lead in hits. They make contact, fewest strikeouts of any team in the major leagues. So that's a good combination. You're getting your hits, hitting home runs, and you don't strike out. And they are road warriors. They have a better road record than any team has a home record in the major leagues. They are 20 games over 500 on the road. They have a good record here at home. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But they are 29 and 9 on the road this year.
They're 10-1-1 in road series so far this season.
Yeah, the Yankees found out at the hard way at Yankee Stadium when the Astros won 3 out of 4.
When you look at Houston, Ken, and it's the depth that they have as well. I mean, they play all 12 of their guys. As Pineda deals a strike. It's funny, A.J. Hinch was actually relaying a story earlier this year about sitting Alex Bregman. And he pulled Bregman into his office and told him he wasn't playing. As Bregman skies that one to right. Easy for Wade, 1 down. And we'll take a look at the Liberty Mutual Insurance player profile. As you see, George Springer, Connecticut kid, who's always in that lineup, Ken. Don't have to worry about him being taken out. 9 leadoff home runs this season, a franchise record, 4 shy of the major league record. But it's funny, so A.J. Hinch calls Bregman into the office, says, you know, you're going to sit today, and Bregman's upset, of course, because he's a competitive guy. And A.J. Hinch takes a hat and shows him names in the hat. And Alex Bregman says, oh, you just pulled a name? And he said, yeah, well, you know, I had to get Marwin Gonzalez in there. I wanted to make sure he was playing today. He said, so you pulled my name? And he said, well, no, I pulled Correa's, but I didn't want to sit him, so I pulled again.
You know, the thing about it, Gonzalez could have played shortstop as well. Yeah.
But that's the issues that A.J. Hinch has. We call them high-quality problems, right? He has so many guys that he wants to get on the field that occasionally he's just got to pull a name from a hat as to who's going to sit.
Well, his team after 80 games, the best record the Astros franchise has ever had after 80 games, 54-26. As I mentioned before, tonight is the halfway mark for them, their 81st game of the year.
And they have used 69 different batting orders
to get everybody in.
That's right.
You know, you were talking about Springer and his success for A.J. Hinch this year. Only one player in the history of the Astros has hit more home runs before the All-Star break. And that is the Big Puma, Lance Berkman. In 2002, he hit 29 home runs before the break. Springer has 24.
That ball is cracked deep to center field. Ellsbury racing back, gets under it, and makes the play deep in that right center corner for the out.
Yeah, I mentioned you go to left field, you go to right field, you got a better chance. You go towards center, you really got to put a little extra onto it to get it out of the ballpark. That was headed for the Astros bullpen. 409 straightaway center field. And you can see the corners out there where Ellsbury eventually is going to haul this in. Nice. He got a nice jump on this one. Slow down, make the catch. He was there to make it, and it's out number 2. Plenty of room to roam for a center fielder.
And here is Reddick, who has the American League's best batting average in the month of June. Grounded out to second in the first and takes strike 1. Michael Pineda looks to be in a nice rhythm so far tonight, as that one scoots to the backstop.
You know, one thing you can tell when a pitcher has a good rhythm going, it seems that he takes the same amount of time between pitches because he doesn't want to alter anything. The catcher keeps him in rhythm. The catcher does not fool around with the signs. He puts something down. The pitcher likes it. They go.
1-1. Popped up. Headley waves everyone off and puts it away. A nice 1-2-3 inning for Michael Pineda. We are through 3. It's a 1-1 game in Houston. Ball break brought to you by T-Mobile. No pun intended here as Trey Turner fractures his right wrist. No timetable for return. Having an outstanding season, as are the Nationals.
Very exciting player. They're going to miss him.
Nationals probably going to be one of those teams in need of bullpen help. And this was the ball that broke the wrist of Trey Turner. Just flush contact on that right wrist as Romine fouls one off himself. On the Audi scoreboard, it is 1-1. George Springer had a leadoff double in the first that the Astros manufactured into a run, and Didi Gregorius a 2-out ribby double in the third to score Brett Gardner. You will take any run you can get against Lance McCullers, especially at home. He has made 26 career starts here at Minute Maid Park, and he has allowed 3 or fewer runs in each of those 26 starts.
What that tells you, when you get your opportunities, you got to make the most of them against him because you're not going to get that many. And to Gregorius' credit, he came through with a 2-out hit that scored Gardner. So that was one of the opportunities the Yankees had. Well, they had a chance in the second with the 2 errors, but they didn't score there.
Romine drives that ball to right. Reddick on the move, looking up. It's off the wall. Romine may have to hold on at first. He will, as Reddick has a cannon and just showed it off on the throw into second.
He also played the ball very well off the wall. Got to it immediately and just turned and fired. Romine didn't miss a home run by much. Remember I said it's kind of close in right and in left fields down the line. And a couple of feet higher, this one would have been in the seats for a home run. Maybe just 8 foot. And we're going to take a look at this on Yesmo to see how close he came to getting, maybe about a foot.
Brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz dealers. So Romine, a long, loud single, and here is Torreyes, who reached on an infield single in the second. Ronald Torreyes has been getting regular run with Starlin Castro on the DL with the hamstring injury.
This is like going back to April when Gregorius is out with the shoulder injury, and Torreyes played quite a bit, and he filled in very well. In fact, he hit the first home run of the year for the Yankees and the first triple. There is Starlin Castro, who's dealing with that hamstring injury, trying to beat out an infield hit.
You know, when we talk about young Yankees, nobody really brings up Torreyes, but he's only 24 years old. And he could be a potentially very useful baseball player for this team for a long time.
We just saw Castro, and he was on the field throwing prior to the game, so trying to keep that arm loose.
Torreyes turns on that, lifts it down the left field line. That will get down. Bounce into the corner. On to third goes Romine, and into second with a double, and his second hit is Ronald Torreyes.
Well, we talked about how well he did when Didi was on the shelf in April, and now we're in June. Castro is out, and Torreyes comes through to set it up for the Yankees here in the 4th inning. Didn't really sting it all that much, but he hit it well right inside the line. Is going to loop it in there for the hit, as Marwin Gonzalez is going to come over and cut it off to hold Romine at third base. So what do you say, Torreyes is 2 for 2 tonight?
That's right.
Yeah, it's just, he was a waiver claim. You know, I'd like to ask Brian Cashman what they saw in him to claim him on waivers from the Angels.
And now an opportunity for Tyler Wade, who reached on an error, showed off his speed in his first at bat. Ball was just barely bobbled by Yuli Gurriel, and Wade busting it down the line beat him by just a hair of a step. Big hole on the left side of the infield for Wade as Correa plays up the middle.
Ground ball to second would do the job, get a runner in and move the runner over to third.
Wade waves and misses at that curveball, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, that's a pitch you got to make sure is in the strike zone, because if it's down low, it's going to drop out of the zone and be tough to hit. Got to make sure if it's high enough, let it fly. Swing at it. If it's low, let it go.
McCullers delivers. And that time Wade did let it go.
A good check. That is third base umpire Mike Winters, the crew chief, with the call.
Wade has shown a nice poise in his at-bats thus far.
He's hitting well down to AAA. That's how you get to the big leagues. But now it's one of those situational hitting situation. You're just looking for a pitch that you can get the job done. A nice little 2 or 3 hopper to Altuve would get the job. Get a runner on the end and get a runner over to third with 1 out.
Considerable size difference there between Torreyes and Correa as well. Here's the 2-2 to Wade. Swung on and missed. Wade will sprint for first. McCann will throw him out to complete the play. And Wade unable to do the job as the runners stay anchored at second and third, and it'll be left to Carter with 1 out.
Yeah, once again, it looked like the breaking ball dropped down the strike zone, and he chased it. You know, when you have runners in scoring position, that's when your plate discipline really has to be at its highest peak. You want to make sure the pitcher's in trouble, make him throw strikes. If he walks you, just take it. Set it up for the next guy. A little too anxious on that at bat.
So here's Carter, who hit with second and third and 2 outs in the second. And he grounded out to Correa. Hit it somewhat sharply. Infield is in as Carter takes high, 1-0.
Now, if he hits the same ball that he hit the first time, Correa's not going to get it. Number one, he's in closer. Carter hit the ball fairly hard. And it looks like Correa's pulled over towards the third baseline a little bit more. There is a definite gap between he and Altuve. And about equidistance between those two. That's where he hit the ball the last time up.
Wave and a miss at the curve. And it's 1-1. That's a little more like it for Torreyes. That's a fair battle. You could throw a jump ball up between Altuve and Torreyes.
Yeah, Torreyes would say, I can eat off the top of his head.
The 1-1. That is right over the middle of the plate at 95 miles an hour. It's 1-2, and McCullers has Carter set up. Pitch count elevating a bit for McCullers. This will be his 70th of the game. Carter takes high, 2-2.
Couple of fastballs back to back, high and away. What does he throw when he gets in trouble?
Curveball.
I think that's on Carter's mind here.
The 2-2. Yes, it was. Didn't help him. Carter goes down swinging, and back-to-back strikeouts from McCullers after the Yankees at second and third with nobody out.
What does he throw when he's in trouble? And he showed it to Wade. He does the same thing to Carter. Breaking ball in the dirt, and they both chase. In other words, McCullers, with that type of pitch, got them both to commit and get themselves out.
5th strikeout for McCullers, who has struck out at least 8 in each of his last 4 starts. And so now it's left to Gardner to do what Gregorius was able to last inning.
It might be double the payoff, though. The Yankees have 2 runners in scoring position.
Gardner looped a double into shallow right that Reddick was unable to grab in a diving attempt. A hustle double for Gardner scored the Yankees' lone run in the 3rd. Here he hits with 2nd and 3rd and 2 outs. Takes it down 1-0.
Yankees have made him work. 72 pitches. He's faced at least 4 batters in every inning.
And this is just his 2nd start off the DL after being on for 2 weeks with lower back tightness. Gardner takes again, 2-0.
Gardner with certainly a little better batting eye. He's tried to get Gardner to chase 2 of those curveballs and stretching a little bit. I don't know if it, remember you said they had back spasms.
Yeah, something was going on there with McCullers. Gardner ahead 2-0. And that one gets by McCann. Here comes Romine, goes right back to him, and Romine is out. Tried the trick slide, but is tagged out by McCullers on the wild pitch. Now the Yankees will make sure that Romine's creativity did not mean he was safe. And it looked like he was out. But this will be a better angle, Ken.
Looks like he tries a trick slide, as you say. Pulls up, tries to get around the tag. Looked like they got him.
They tag him on the waist just in time as Romine is retired, and so is the Yankees' threat. Sunday, July 9th, for the last game before the All-Star break and for one of the hottest collectibles of the season. It's Whitey Ford Bobblehead Day, the third in the 2017 Collectible Series presented by AT&T. For the first 18,000 guests in attendance, for tickets, log on to Yankees.com, visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849.
You know what happened on this date in 1961 concerning Whitey Ford?
Taking a look at the Audi scoreboard, 1-1.
He beat Washington 5-1. Whitey Ford was 8-0 in the month of June.
Yeah, you're never making 8 starts in a month again.
And I'm trying to think of what his record was that year. I think he won 24 games, 25 games. But 8-0 in the month of June. And that's a major league record.
Grounded left side and underneath the diving Gregorius. Now Altuve, who has plenty of speed, is on.
Well, Altuve with the leadoff single, and as Ryan mentioned, plenty of speed, and he's willing to use it. 14 stolen bases, only been caught 3 times. Good effort by Gregorius, but even if he comes up with it cleanly, he's not going to throw him out.
So the Yankees unable to score with second and third, nobody out in the top of the inning. Now Michael Pineda surrenders the leadoff runner, and here is Correa, grounded out to short, his first at bat. Pineda will step off.
Yeah, Correa got off to a very slow start in April, but came back strong in the month of May. He was American League Player of the Month in May, and he's continued right on to June here.
He has reached base safely in a career high 17 straight games. Correa hits that hard and past a diving Torreyes into right field. Altuve is going for third. Wade's throw on the money on a hop, but it gets by Headley. And going to second will be Correa as the Astros have second and third with nobody out.
Well, in a tie ball game, Altuve took a chance. Wade's throw had him beat, but Headley couldn't handle it. There's the base hit. Correa hits the ball to all fields with authority, and watch Altuve at first base. He's going to take a chance. He sees a chance to get to third base with nobody out. The throw short hops Headley, and if he gets a better hop, Altuve is going to be out. And when the throw gets away from Headley, Correa moves to second, as you can see at the top of your picture there.
That is a tough E9 on Tyler Wade. That was a pretty good throw he made, and a play that Chase Headley does often handle at third base. So now Michael Pineda tries to work out of second and third and nobody out, the way that McCullers was able to in the top of the inning. And McCann takes ball 1. Here was the throw from Wade.
Strong enough throw, but as I said, a short hop that Headley couldn't handle. And now with McCann up there, they've got a hitter who's been driving in runs lately. 11 RBIs in his last 10 games. But Houston's the type of team that they put men on base, and they have a tendency to get them in.
Pineda now slowing things down. McCann fouls it off. Of course, Pineda threw to McCann over the last couple of years.
You know, it was interesting. When Houston played the Yankees in New York, they won 3 of the 4 games.
Right.
The only game they lost was a game that McCann didn't catch. So I wonder if he used his ability to playing with the Yankees last. He knows the hitters.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was just a coincidence. But whatever. The 3 games they won, he was behind the plate.
Well, you think it would help to what extent, who knows, but somewhat. That ball is off the inside corner from Pineda. 2-1. Joe Girardi, talking about Michael Pineda, said today the difference for him between his good self or bad self is fastball location with that late cut. Said his late cut on the fastball is key. Here's a 2-1. That is chopped foul. It's 2-2.
That was a changeup, 86 miles an hour. And when Joe's talking about that late cut, when a hitter goes to square up the ball, that late movement gets in on the hands of the left-handed hitters and gets the ball off the fat of the bat.
Pineda looking for the strikeout. Second and third, nobody out. Here is the 2-2. McCann stays alive.
A little bit of a different look for McCann. Of course, no facial hair with the Yankees. He's got nice growth going there.
We see that whenever somebody leaves, right? They test the limits of their facial hair growth.
Either that or they're saving on razors. I didn't.
You've seen it with Ben Gamel in Seattle as well. He's feeling freedom in that beard. The 2-2 is high, 3-2. Carlos Beltran on deck. Longest at bat of the game. 7th pitch coming from Michael Pineda. Here's the payoff. Swing and a miss. He got him. Threw the change, and McCann whiffed at it. 1 down.
Only the second strikeout of the night, but it comes at a very good time for Michael Pineda. A little cut on it as well as McCann swings through it and strikes out. Here's another look at it. Yep, he was out in front. Good call by Austin Romine with a base open.
And so now here is Beltran with Marwin Gonzalez on deck.
Not much of a break, although Beltran's not having the years that he's had in the past. Certainly, remember, he led the Yankees in home runs last year with 22. Judge is already blown by that.
But most of his issues have been right-handed.
Yeah.
28 of his 32 RBIs this year have come left-handed.
Yeah, he doesn't have a home run batting right-handed.
All 10 from this side of the plate.
You know, one thing, when you're looking at Beltran, you're looking at the body of work. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, one of the greatest switch hitters of all time. Only one switch hitter has more extra base hits than him in history.
Guy was pretty good.
God. Yeah, I saw a lot of them.
Eddie Murray.
Yeah.
Just missed.
And you saw Romine hold it there for Mark Wegner, the home plate umpire. Didn't get the call.
You see the batting average similar. The damage has come from the left-handed side of the plate.
Still, he and McCann coming over to this team, the Astros, who were one of the youngest teams in baseball. The average age of the team has crept up, but they bring a wealth of experience to this team and knowledge and winning experience.
That's something Carlos Correa has talked about, just picking the brain of Carlos Beltran, approaches versus different pitchers, and making sure you know every reliever as well when you go into a series. Don't just focus on the starter. Both Beltran and Correa from Puerto Rico, of course. 1-1. Grounded, weakly to second. That'll get a run home as Torreyes tosses out Beltran. Moving to third is Correa as Altuve scores, and it's 2-1 Houston.
Well, Beltran, knowing that he's in a contact situation, we talked about, you know, even the slow roller get a run in, and he got the job done. Picking up his 33rd run batted in of the year.
And Now here is Marwin Gonzalez, who is having a career year for Houston. And he plays all over the field for them. He's played left, first, third, second, short, right. He has played center before in his career, just not this season.
He's a switch hitter, too. So A.J. Hinch can plug him in there any day he would like. Left-hander or right-hander on the mound.
Outside, ball one. I'd imagine you feel a lot differently if you're Pineda. You get out of this 2-1 versus 3-1 now that you've gotten 2 outs. After second and third, nobody out. A strikeout and an RBI ground out.
What you're looking at in tonight's game, two of the better offensive teams in baseball. The Astros kind of have a team that's a well-rounded offense. They hit homers, they hit doubles, they got decent team speed, and they've parlayed that into the most runs in the American League. I think only the Nationals coming into tonight had scored one more run than them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want to break it down to runs per game, the Nationals are first, the Yankees actually second, and the Astros third. All percentage points away from each other.
Because the Astros have played a few more games than the Yankees.
That's right. As most teams have right now. Yuli Gurriel on deck. Pineda trying to hold it right here. 2 outs and the runner at third. It's down with a slider, 2-1.
Well, I think Joe Girardi would take it if Pineda can get out of here with a, second and third with nobody out and just giving up 1 run. He'll take it. This might be one of the key hitters of the game in Gonzalez at the plate right now.
Here's the 2-1 from Pineda. 2-2. Pineda has been incredibly tough on opponents in these situations. With runners in scoring position, 3rd inning or later, opponents are just 2 for 41.
Yeah, it's almost like he finds his rhythm after, coming through the first few innings of a game. Maybe he finds what's working, or the catcher and he find out what's working, and then they go with it in clutch situations. He made a nice pitch with a changeup to McCann to strike him out.
Here's the 2-2 from Pineda. Fouled away.
Yeah, that was not a changeup. That was a fastball.
He shook off the slider, then the changeup, and then threw the fastball.
Just looking around, there's not many empty seats here tonight. Good crowd on hand.
Jam-packed. Astros best record in baseball. Yankees 3rd best record in the AL. 1 game behind Boston. The 2-2. Blocked by Romine as Correa started to wander. And the count is full on Marwin Gonzalez.
Just watch the work of Romine here. Slider in the dirt. Played it off the chest protector. Got away a little bit, but not far enough for Correa to advance. See him as he was going for the ball. He wanted to see what Correa was. He looked up.
How careful are you on this pitch with first base open?
We got Gurriel up next, who's been hot too. He's been swinging the bat pretty well. You try and get him out, but I think he'll go with his slider. It's usually his best pitch.
There's the 3-2 from Pineda. Line drive, base hit right center field, and it's 3-1 Astros.
Yeah, Marwin Gonzalez, he wasn't careful enough, was he? Gonzalez earlier with a hit. This is his second line drive hit, and whatever it was, he went down to get it. Might have been a changeup, which wouldn't have been a bad pitch in that situation. But you're dealing with a hot hitter who's probably seeing the ball well, strokes it into center field, a 2-out run scoring single. And as we mentioned, 2-out hits are like gold. Gonzalez now 2 for 2.
So the Yankees had second and third, nobody out in the top of the inning, did not score. The Astros with second and third, nobody out this inning. And after a strikeout of McCann, an RBI ground out by Beltran, and an RBI single by Marwin Gonzalez. Of course, the Astros lineup is healthy and intact right now. The Yankees missing several key hitters. It's a pitch out. Ball one. And today, Ken, it's not just Castro and Holiday and Hicks who are all on the DL. It's also Sanchez who is not in the lineup today.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where you heard Joe Girardi say somebody's got to step up. And that's very, very true during the course of a long season. I mean, the Astros are dealing with it too. They've got 3 of their starting pitchers out of the rotation. And one of them's 9-0. That's the Keuchel.
Popped up to Reyes. Ends the inning, but the Astros score a pair and take a 3-1 lead as we head to the 5th. Now, Major League Baseball on pace to shatter the collective home run record. On the GMC scoreboard, 3-1 Astros lead. George Springer has contributed. He's done his part for the league. He has 24 home runs. You know, right now, the league as a whole is averaging 1.26 home runs per team game. The all-time record came back in 2000, 1.17. That's a big jump. And the amazing part, Kenny, is if you go back to 2014, the homers per team game average was 0.86. So we've had almost a 47% increase in 3 years, as you see the Yankees and Astros have taken full advantage. Now Altuve will toss out Gardner for the first out.
Well, I think earlier this month, We were doing a game, and I'm not sure where we were, but on that particular day, as opposed to last year, the Yankees had hit 40 more home runs this year.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was Aaron Judge, of course, and Sanchez being there at the beginning of the year, as opposed to although he did miss a month with an injury, but just overall for the Yankees, more run production this year, and it shows in the standings. They were trying to fight their way back to 500 this time of last year after struggling out of the gate. This year they got off very well. Not playing their best ball right now, but you have a feeling when some of these players come back from injury. CC Sabathia might be on the horizon pretty soon, and hopefully he can revert to the form that he had before he was injured.
One of the areas where the Yankees have struggled over this recent stretch, as Ellsbury will chop out to Altuve, who handles the high hop, 2 down, is one-run games, Kenny.
Yeah.
They're 9-15 in one-run games this season after being 24-12 last season.
Yeah.
And I asked Joe Girardi about it today, and he said he thinks some of those one-run games are because of the way they've battled, where, like last night, down 2, you cut it to 1. But he said he actually feels somewhat encouraged by that, because at some point you feel like that probably will regress to the mean.
Well, they've been giving up some late leads too.
That's true.
Which is not good.
Judge fouls that off.
In particular, I was thinking of the West Coast trip where they lost some tough games.
Well, no doubt, as you see the difference between last year and this year, that the biggest issue for the Yankees in this recent patch has been the bullpen.
Yeah, well, one thing that when they win, they have a tendency to blow teams out. They're going to win by 5 or 6 or 7, which can be some fun games. I mean, good offensive games, but the tight games haven't been going their way.
Judge extended his on-base streak to 32 games with a first-inning walk as he takes low. Well, to your point, Kenny, in the month of June, the Yankees are 12-15. They have won their 12 games by an average of over 6.5 runs.
Okay.
They have lost by an average of just 2 runs a game.
There you go.
11 of the 15 losses by 1 or 2 runs.
Yeah, with Judge up, I'm looking at that railroad car at top the tracks.
Not going to hit it this time. Diving backhand by Altuve and guns out Judge for the final out. What a sparkling play by the second baseman, ranging all the way over to short. The backhand, the fire in time to nail Judge in a 1-2-3-5. Brought to you by Clean, Crisp Coors Light. A record of 54-26 or better through the first 80 games since 1980. The Astros have joined this group. 98 Yankees were 60-20 through their first 80 games.
They were just getting started.
You see, it's pretty good company when you look at these teams. There's a lot of titles, a lot of World Series reached. The only team in this group that did not at least make the World Series, the 2001 Mariners, who, of course, were taken down by the Yankees in the ALCS in 5 games. Take a look at the GMC scoreboard. The Astros with a 3-1 lead on the Yankees. You can remember the Yankee Stadium crowd cheering no Game 6 during the Game 5 win in 01 after Lou Piniella had guaranteed they would be back in Seattle for a Game 6 following dropping the first 2 at home.
If I'm not mistaken, Roger Clemens pitched one of the best games ever pitched by Yankees in the playoffs out in Seattle. Rocket had one of those no chance games.
I believe it was 15 strikeouts in that playoff game at Safeco.
Like I said, no chance.
Sky a mile high into shallow center. Torre is calling for it now. Ellsbury will call him off as Torre started darting back towards the infield. 1 down.
Yeah, when an infielder hears that outfielder call for a ball, he has to get out of the way quickly. And Torres, he actually had called for it. And then he heard the on-charging Ellsbury and vacated the premises.
You know, Ken, that game from Clemens was actually the year before in the ALCS. It was Game 4 at Seattle. And Clemens threw a 1-hit shutout where he did strike out 15.
Yeah, right. It's a few years back.
Yeah. Yankees played back-to-back ALCSs. 94 miles an hour from Michael Pineda. The fast pitch speed analytics brought to you by Fios. Springer doubled and scored in the first. Flew out to center in the third.
Yeah, fairly deep center field. Nice play by Ellsbury.
And he smokes that over the head of Gregorius and into left. Got out to Gardner in a hurry in the second hit of the game for the sure-to-be all-star George Springer.
Yeah, he's up there in the voting, but he's also been swinging the bat well. He's hit the ball hard 3 times tonight. A double, a long fly out, and now this single as we look at it on Yesmo, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. Good effort by Didi Gregorius. Plenty of airtime there. But couldn't come down with the ball.
The Astros projected this for Springer, and because of injuries, it didn't fully blossom over the last couple of seasons, but it has happened now here in 2017. As that is driven in the air to center field, Ellsbury back towards the track. He has room. He makes the catch for the second out.
Yeah, here you want to make them hit the long fly balls to the deepest part of the ballpark. And Larry Rothschild is going to come out and talk with Pineda. That's twice tonight that Ellsbury's gone to deep right center field to haul in a fly ball. You know who was good at that over the years? The Catfish Hunter was good. He let you hit the ball as far as you wanted to center field. And of course at Yankee Stadium, old Yankee Stadium, usually come up short. You know, Mickey Rivers out there just haul it in and make you feel bad.
And of course, we always remember Jim Cox's rule for his center fielders. You play shallower. They hit it over your head. That's on me.
Yeah, well, sometimes they hit over your head. You're not getting it back anyway. That was a quick discussion. You know, maybe a reminder with Altuve and Correa coming up. There's 2 outs. Come on, bear down and get the final out of this inning.
Right side is open for Altuve. Torreyes pulled up the middle. Altuve fouls it back. Now, George Springer has excellent speed, but he doesn't run. He's 0 for 3 in stolen bases this season.
Well, when you're on a team that's leading the league in home runs, sometimes that will cut down on your running game. It's not like the Astros can't steal bases. They've got a pretty good percentage. With it 41-19. That's pretty good as an overall team, but he hasn't joined the party as far as stealing a base.
He's got big boppers behind him. Altuve punches it right through that vacated right side for a base hit. Springer hangs on as Wade throws behind him wisely. And Springer dives back, and now first and second for Carlos Correa.
Another player that uses the whole field. That might not have even been a strike. It looked like it was breaking off the play, but Altuve goes with it. Makes use of the hole on the right side. You mentioned Torreyes was pulled towards the middle. This guy's just some kind of hitter. Well, did 2 hits tonight? That gives him 100 on the season. And they're playing their 81st game. So as I said, he's on pace for another 200 hit season, his 4th in a row.
He entered this game with 100 more hits than the next closest hitter since 2014.
Wow. That means he plays a lot. And while he's in there, he's getting his hits.
Robinson Cano was
second?
number 2 on that list. Yep.
Another second baseman.
So here's Correa, singled and scored in the 4th. Pineda trying to hold this right here. And that's foul down the right field line.
Yeah. Now remember, Larry Rothschild went out to the mound to remind him with 2 outs to try and get out of this inning with some big hitters coming up. And this is what Correa has done against him in his career.
Yeah. Well, Larry Rothschild said, you better get this guy because the next guy is. And of course, here is the next guy in Correa.
There are just some pitchers that throw your speed. And if they make the slightest bit of a mistake, you usually hit the ball hard.
How aware were you, Ken, of the guys you had those kind of numbers against?
Yeah, I knew going in I had a good chance.
The non-Guidrys of the world.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
The 0-1. That is fouled on the right field line as well, and it's 0-2.
Yeah, now a chance to make some good pitches. Make sure that you keep it out of the middle of the plate. And if you could get Correa the chase, it would be even better. But lately he's been locked in. 2 home runs yesterday. He has a hit here tonight.
And this is an area where Pineda struggled last year. Has gotten better with it this year, but still an issue at times with 2 outs, finishing off an inning. Here's the 0-2. Up and in with the fastball, and Correa shoots it foul. Springer leads off second. Altuve off first. Excellent speed on the bases. Good speed in the batter's box as well. And Pineda looks towards Springer. Pitch count up to 76 for Pineda, trying to wiggle out of this jam. Back up the middle, Torreyes backhands, flips, and Gregorius there to end the inning. So Pineda retires Correa, keeps it a 3-1 game as we go to the 6th. Astros in Game 2 of this set, and yes, as extra innings post-game coverage following the game on Fox. Then on Sunday afternoon, yes, as full coverage of the series finale starting at 1 o'clock with Audi batting practice today and the Chevy Yankees pregame show. Now, on the final out of the bottom of the 5th, Michael Pineda did something that pitchers don't always do.
Yeah, how many times have you seen a ground ball deflected by a pitcher trying to make the play, and all of a sudden everybody's safe? Well, in this play, Pineda might have had a chance, but he knew where Torreyes was, let it go, and the Yankees were able to get the force out and get out of the inning.
And keep it at 3-1 as Gregorius takes outside. McCullers was able to stabilize the pitch count with a 9-pitch 1-2-3 fifth after he had labored in the 3rd and 4th. Gregorius has driven in the only Yankees run, a 2-out double in the 3rd. Now, Michael was talking about it the other day, Ken, and he's 100% right. Gregorius is playing at a position where it is going to be just so hard for him to crack through and make an all-star team, partly because of the guy who's playing it on the other side of the field today.
It's Didi can make the All-Star team. Maybe not this year, but I think that one year he's going to really put it together, and it's just going to be too tough to keep him off of the All-Star team. But you're right, a player like Correa,
Francisco Lindor in Cleveland.
There's some big-time players playing that position.
Xander Bogaerts in Boston.
Yep.
It's just a stacked position. As Gregorius flicks one towards Correa, backhands it nicely, and the throw not in time as Gregorius beats it out for his 2nd hit.
Didi going down the line to pick up the hit, but what about the play by Correa? He made it close. Yeah, this is the play that turns a lot of shortstops or younger shortstops into second baseman. They can't make this type of play. Correa is one who can do it, but Didi out of the box. Smelled that infield hit, and he got it. Good hustle down the line.
And
clearly safe.
Yep. Now, a lot of people have questioned the range of Carlos Correa because of the advanced metrics, but the Astros shift so much that they contest that the range for Correa really isn't accurate, and it's better than the analytics would lend you to believe. Headley takes high, ball 1.
They showed plenty of range on that play. And a strong arm.
He definitely has a plus arm, and he has great hands.
And part of playing any position is to be in the right spot to begin with.
That's right. And just watching Correa, Ken, naked eye, I have never felt like he doesn't have good range.
I think Astro fans are happy with him.
Yeah, I'd say so. So the leadoff runner on in Gregorius. Here's Headley, 0 for 2. Takes ball 2. Animated conversation there between Correa and Altuve. Two-1 to Headley. He's on the outside corner again, going to that curveball. 2-2. Astros with some action in the pen. Michael Feliz, as the pitch count has climbed to 92 for McCullers. Houston has a very effective bullpen. Headley waves and misses and is now 0 for 7 with 5 strikeouts in his career against McCullers.
Well, he stayed with the hook once again, and this is the one that gets the left-hand hitters to swing over the top. It looks good, and then all of a sudden, boom, out of the strike zone. It's even hard to foul that pitch off.
And now a discussion with McCullers. Romine smoked a single off the top of the wall in right his last time up.
That's Brent Strom, the pitching coach.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees.
Well, looks like the conference is breaking up. Brent Strom heading back to the dugout. A lot of people know that Tommy John, first Tommy John, of course it's named after him, Tommy John surgery. Who had the second? It was Brent Strom. Didn't work out quite as well for Brent Strom as it did for Tommy John. So
now McCullers has thrown just 100 pitches twice this year. He's at 93 right now. One 1-0 on Romine. Romine behind the plate after spending a few games at first base. You heard Meredith Marakovitz talking about last night how much Joe Girardi has liked the way Romine has looked at first. As Romine takes ball 2.
I wonder how much Romine likes it at first. He doesn't get beat up as much as when he's catching.
You know, it was interesting. He actually made a mound visit at one point last night from first base. So, you know, he can. It's a shorter walk than from home to get there. Showing some leadership out there in the infield.
Now we all know that the catchers, a lot of catchers become managers. You see that in Romine's future.
And that is not even close. 4 balls to Austin Romine, and the Yankees now at first and second with 1 out, and that will be the last batter that McCullers faces. Ronald Torreyes coming up, Phillies coming in as the Yankees are threatening in the 6th.
Anytime Torreyes has come up with that on base.
On the left coast as NYCFC charges into the second half of their season with a clash against the Vancouver Whitecaps. Coverage starts Wednesday at 10, presented by Etihad Airways right here on Yes and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Ryan Rucco, Ken Singleton, Meredith Marakovitz with you, our entire crew. Appreciate you spending the kickoff of your 4th of July weekend with us. Yankees threatening here in the 6th as they have chased Lance McCullers, who now makes it 27 straight starts here at Minute Maid Park, giving up 3 runs or fewer, because even if these 2 runners score, it will only be 3. Ronald Torreyes will face Michael Phillies.
Phillies was signed. He's always been in the Astros organization, signed as a 16-year-old. Been in the organization 7 years now. Of course, now 23.
Throws hard and high there. with the ball.
And first pitch 97. Makes you wonder how hard was he throwing when he was 16 that they signed him.
Yeah.
I'm sure it wasn't 97, but you know, scouts have a way of projecting in the future.
Big cut from Torreyes. 1-1.
They figured he's going to get bigger, stronger, and throw harder. You know, sometimes when they look at a 16-year-old, they say he's got good mechanics, good arm, good live arm. You know, and we project he's going to throw, you know, maybe 5 miles an hour harder than he does now, or 6 or whatever. 97 is pretty good.
He's holding righties to just a 175 average as Torreyes waves and misses again, and Phillies is just throwing straight heat.
There's been nothing fancy so far. Every pitch has been a fastball.
Torreyes 2 for 2, an infield single and a double down the left field line. This one pop back foul near us. Kenny was very ready for it.
Yeah, right.
No, you were.
Yeah, I put my hand
the
out.
Full
but
extension going.
I put it out, but I wasn't going to catch it. It
Oh,
came
okay.
in here. I was just it's for show. As Coney would say, eye wash.
Eye wash.
Yeah.
That's right. Melky Cabrera last night style.
I am not hurting these fingers. I got a putt.
1-2 on Torreyes. Grounds one through the left side, a base hit. Gregorius rounds third. He will score. Third hit of the game for Ronald Torreyes, and it's a 1-run game.
Torreyes, couldn't make much contact on the first couple of fastballs. Phillies just poured right by him. And it looked like, let's see, did he try and trick him? Yeah, it was a slider. He got it down and away. And Torreyes, just about with one hand, reaches out and slaps this one through the hole. And Gregorius gets a good jump. You can see Joe Espada sending him home. And now we have a 1-run ball game. Torreyes 3 for 3, just out of the reach of Bregman. Hit hard enough, it kind of hopped over his glove and on into left field.
6th career 3-hit game for Torreyes as Tyler Wade shoots that foul. Game after game.
He does something.
Yeah. He's just so good at his role, Kenny. He comes in and is always going to give you a spirited at bat, make good contact.
I mentioned he was a waiver claim from the Angels. I think he's picked him up beginning of last spring training. And he hit 1 home run last year. What team did he hit it against?
The Angels.
The Angels, that's right. I think it was Jared Weaver.
And he's only 24 years old.
Yeah, he's got a long way to go.
Yesterday, he finished the game in right field. He can play all over. Here's Wade now, first and second in an 0-2 hole as Feliz steps off. Wade got up in the 4th with second and third, nobody out, and chased a couple of those nasty McCullers curveballs, went down on strikes. And here he just looks at fastball, strike 3, right down the middle, and he knew it.
Right there for him. Yeah, maybe he was thinking back to that at bat where he chased pitches out of the zone, started low, and they broke out of the zone. Maybe he thought the Phillies would try that. Instead, he got the express.
If you take that pitch with 2 strikes, you have to be looking something else, right?
Well, I'm upset. Like I said, I always look for a fastball.
Carter rips that off the glove of Correa, trickles into shallow left. Here comes Romine, the throw home, way up the line. Romine scores, and Chris Carter ties this game with a ribby single. It's 3-all.
Remember I was talking about the first time that Carter hit the ball, his first time up, he hit it hard, and it was right directly at Correa. This time I thought Correa was a little bit closer to the third baseline, and the ball gets off his glove, and Espada not hesitating with 2 outs. Carter hits it hard and has himself a base hit and a run batted in. Just off the glove of Correa. Slowed it down just enough that he would have a play at home, but in his haste to make the throw, it wasn't accurate. And Carter has a run batted in.
And you mentioned again with 2 outs, great send by Joe Espada as it didn't trickle far from Correa. And Romine obviously not blessed with amazing speed. But he scores to tie it up, and now Gardner hits with 2 on and 2 out. Well, it's got to feel good for Chris Carter, who has made out twice with runners in second and third. His first 2 at-bats back in Houston and back with the Yankees.
Plus, that takes McCullers out of the running for a win tonight by tying up the ball game.
Gardner takes it down 2-0. Here was the send from Espada.
Yeah, he did not hesitate. And the way he's waving his arm, it shows that, you know, that the urgency for Romine to turn it on. The throw is well up the line, and the Yankees tie the ball game.
And Gardner ahead in the count 2-0. Gardner smokes that into right, a base hit. Here comes Torreyes. Reddick has a good arm. The throw not nearly in time. And it is a 4-3 Yankees lead after the 2-out single from Brett Gardner.
Back-to-back 2-out hits. Puts the Yankees in the lead here. Gardner ahead on the count. That pitch was towards the middle. You saw McCann's target to the outside corner. See him reach back towards the middle of the plate. Anytime a catcher's reaching toward the middle, this is a very hittable pitch, and Gardner doesn't miss it. By Altuve, and Torreyes comes in to score.
So good at bats from the bottom of the order, turning right to the top for Gardner and now Ellsbury, as the Yankees have scored 3 in the frame and taken the lead. And that is ball 1.
So Feliz has come in out of the bullpen and poured some gasoline on the fire here.
And you could hear some "Let's Go Yankees" chants breaking out, and then a competing Astros chant back and forth to try and win the crowd back. And Ellsbury's ahead 2-0. And Aaron Judge waits on deck as Brian McCann will go talk to Michael Feliz, and Lance McCullers can only watch. A single by Gregorius started it, and then Headley struck out. Romine walked on 4 pitches. That ended McCullers' day, and nobody is warming to save Feliz here.
Yeah, but the phone just rang. Somebody might be getting up. Yep, they're stirring around out there.
The 2-0. Swing and a miss. Chased a fastball upstairs.
Yeah, he did. Looking fastball, went for it. I think he was going for the knockout blow. This is going to be up and out of the zone, and you can see Ellsbury's reaction to swinging at a bad pitch.
Especially with the guy on deck that he has.
It's Raymond Gudwan warming up. Gudwan.
Ellsbury slaps that to center field. Carter will be sent home. It's juggled in center by Springer. Gardner goes to third. He's safe. Following to second is Ellsbury. And it's a 5-3 game as the 2-out hits don't stop for the Bombers.
It might have been a play at the plate. Of course, Carter not as fast as some of the other Yankees who were on base this inning. But that all was negated because Springer bobbles the ball. So Carter's going to score easily, and on the play, he's going to throw the third to try and get Gardner, which wasn't a good idea because on the play, Ellsbury moves down to second. There's the base hit. Carter being waved home by Joe Espada. Been busy this inning. You notice Joe used his left arm that time. His right arm's getting tired.
So it's a single and an RBI, and then an E8 on Springer. And now Judge will hit with second and third and 2 outs, and you would think Judge will be walked.
He might not hit, but you got a left-handed hitter coming up next. They might want to tease him and see if he'll chase.
We have a lefty warming in the pen now, and you also have a hitter in Didi Gregorius who hits very well against lefties. Let's see. Feliz looks like he's going to pitch to Aaron Judge. It's second and third and 2 outs and 4 runs already in this inning. Strike one. You surprised they're pitching to Judge?
This is the 9th hitter for the Yankees this inning. I know sometimes when you're a young player, opposing managers don't want to give you that much respect. They want you to earn it. They want you to prove it to them, even with the gaudy numbers.
That's off the outside corner.
But he wouldn't mind if Feliz works carefully and if he ends up walking it.
Does Feliz have good enough control today to execute that?
Well, he hasn't shown it this inning. There's too many pitches in the middle of the plate.
1-1. 2-1.
Yeah. You know, sometimes you get up there and you can see what's happening here. If this next McCann's looking over to the dugout to see if they just want to put him on, and no signal as of yet. I think if it goes to 3-1 to keep Feliz from laying one in there, they'll put him on.
Here's the 2-1 to Judge. Painted the outside corner, 2-2.
Yeah.
So 4 straight fastballs either on or off the outside corner.
It's either corner or nothing. And that one was a good pitch right to the corner. 98 miles an hour.
Yankees 4 for 5 with runners in scoring position this inning. Judge trying to add another. Blocked beautifully by McCann. Gardner holds it third, and the count is full on Aaron Judge.
Yep, went with the slider right in the middle of the chest protector.
Here's the payoff from Feliz. Foul back on an inside fastball.
Yeah, that was ball 4. That was the first pitch in, and I think that Judge, maybe in his whole at bat, was looking in there. That was ball, almost hit him.
Yeah.
He actually does Feliz a favor here by swinging at it.
That hit so far up on the hands on his bat. So another 3-2 delivery from Feliz with runners on second and third, 2 outs. And that's bounced past McCann. Here comes Gardner. He'll score. Ellsbury going to hold on at third as McCann finally found it. Judge walks, and it's a 6-3 Yankees lead.
Well, Judge's second walk of the night. And this is going to be all for Feliz. Looked like he threw another slider but jerked it into the dirt. McCann can't find it. And Ellsbury thought about scoring.
The Yankees have batted around and turned a 3-1 deficit into a 6-3 lead against Feliz. And better than ever, watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB TV for details. Well, you see Lance McCullers unable to complete 6 innings. In the last 12 games, the Astros starter has completed 6 just once. And even though they're 8-3 in that stretch entering today, it has taken a toll on the bullpen.
Yeah.
And Michael Phillies maybe just paid the price as the Yankees have put together a big-time 2-out rally looking to add to it.
Kind of also tells you that over that period of time they've been scoring some runs. So that as we look at the Goudoin, another pitcher that the Astros signed at a young age, they signed him at 17.
Popped up sky high in the infield. Correa will put it away and end the inning. But the Yankees score 5 runs in the frame, 4 with 2 outs. Carter, Gardner, Ellsbury, all with 2-out ribby hits. And then a wild pitch was the cherry on top. It's 6-3 Bombers.
Has been officially announced by the Yankees. It looks as though outfield prospect Clint Frazier will be joining the team tomorrow here in Houston. Frazier, who was in Pawtucket with the Rail Riders, was overheard on his phone by reporters saying, "I am going to Houston." Joe Girardi did say prior to the game that there were discussions about calling Frazier up and that they would be continually evaluating the roster. Guys, it looks like the Yankees could potentially have their 10th guy to make their major league debut tomorrow.
Well, that's exciting news for Yankees fans, Meredith, who have been following Clint Frazier since the trade with the Indians of Andrew Miller last season. And Frazier has done a nice job at AAA this year. Now, for this game, it was Miguel Andujar who was called back up. But it seems like they really want him to play every day at third base.
They do. They believe he can use a little bit more work defensively. I did ask Joe Girardi whether or not he felt comfortable putting him there every day, and he said, "We're going to talk about it. I do feel comfortable putting him out there." But you can tell he leans towards Chase Headley, obviously, due to the experience that he has at third base. When I asked him where exactly does Andujar fit in, he said, "We have to discuss that. This roster is really in flux right now," and it really seems like every day over the last 2 weeks, there's been a roster move.
It has been a crazy stretch.
You see, but one of the differences of making all these roster moves, they have somewhere to go. They're bringing up some guys who are making some contributions, as opposed to, you know, maybe a few years in the back, the farm system wasn't quite as productive as it is now. I mean, you look at what the Rail Riders have done over the last few years. They won a championship last year, AAA club. This year, they're a half a game out of first place down at in the International League. So there's some players who were performing well and can make a contribution when called up by this team.
And Kenny, not only do they have the players down there for the first time in a long time, too, guys believe they're going to get opportunities. As you see Pineda with the strikeout right there. They believe they're going to get opportunities. That only adds to motivation. Not that they're not motivated enough to try to reach the big leagues, but when you see your friends getting called up, when you see other guys getting called up, you wonder, can I be next? If I work a little bit harder, will I be next?
And Meredith and Ryan, this goes back to spring training. To me, I've been here over 20 years, and I've never seen this many quality prospects in spring training. And the Yankees had, 24-9 in spring training? And a lot of it was because of the youngsters perform well. And they were told by Joe Girardi, you go down, you continue to play well, you never know when your number is going to be called.
Oh, we saw so many of the projections before the season as that's rocketed on the ground, but right to Headley for the second out. Having the Yankees with either the first or second best farm system in all of baseball, and they are probably having to show off parts of it earlier than they wanted to due to the injuries up here, but you're right, Ken, they have somewhere to go now.
Well, if the reports are true and Clint Frazier shows up here tomorrow, you're going to see another one of the top prospects that the Yankees, well, this one they traded for. But when you think of Yankee prospects in the lineup now, that you got Judge, you've got Sanchez who came through the system, but part of building your ball club is either signing free agents or making some good trades. And it's been proven that the Yankees have made some good trades last year during the season.
One of the things Brian Cashman and the baseball operations department has done such a great job over the last couple of years of is utilizing the 40-man roster, the Scranton Shuttle. And you see, as ranked by Baseball America before the season, the Yankees with the second best farm system in baseball. They were 17th entering last season. And Pineda, after a long delay between innings, he looks pretty in rhythm here in the bottom of the sixth.
Well, he'll take that delay because they're busy scoring 5 runs for him.
Yeah, every pitcher will take that trade-off. And the pitch count in pretty good shape right now.
Not too bad. If he gets through this 1, 2, 3 inning, he could get through 7.
Plus you have Aroldis Chapman with 3 days of rest and Dellin Betances with 2 days of rest. Yankees batted around in a 26-minute top of the 6th inning. And Michael Pineda against a lineup that has done about as much damage as any in baseball has really done a nice job so far tonight.
I had 26 minutes. Time to take a little nap, have a sandwich, come out strong.
The 1-2 from Pineda is down 2-2. Gonzalez 2 for 2 with a couple of singles, including a ribby single in the 4th. Here's a 2-2. And it's now full. 3 straight balls from Pineda. Yuli Gurriel is on deck. Who Pineda has handled tonight, but don't want to be putting on 3 base runners.
Now you like to have that 1, 2, 3, and it gives you confidence. Didn't have to work from the stretch.
The 3-2. Fouled straight back.
And it gives your team a chance to come up and score some more runs for you.
Grounded weakly to first. Carter. Oh, Pineda taps the bag with his glove. It's not how they drew it up, but yes, Michael Pineda will take it. off the glove of Carter. Almost an egregious error. Instead, Pineda grabs, and then he could have used his foot. Instead, decided to use his hand to end the inning. Not conventional, but interesting. To the 7th we go.
One more look, and this is something you might see out of Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson right here. A little flip, and then the dunk at the end. That's not the way they drew it up. Look at Big Mike getting over it and cover the bag. Here he is. Didn't expect it so quickly, but he gets the job done.
Chase Headley grounds one through and into left field for his first base hit of the game. Past the diving Correa. I can't wait to hear Meredith Marakovitz ask Michael Pineda why he went with the glove instead of the foot there. On the Cadillac scoreboard, 6-3 Yankees lead. Yankees scoring 5 runs in the 6th, including 4 with 2 outs to take the 6-3 edge.
Yankees have only been retired in order in 1 inning in this game. So they've had men all over the bases.
With a makeshift lineup as Romine smacks one through the middle. Headley is going to turn and hold on. He probably had third if he wanted it, but he'll play it conservative there. And yep, Kenny, he knew it. Immediately slapping his hands, knowing he may have missed an opportunity to go to third.
Yeah, I think because Springer, when he was set up in the outfield, was playing towards right center. He had to seize towards right center. He has a long way to go to come up with this base hit. And Headley, well, now it sets up a bunt situation for Torres,
who's 3 for 3.
Yeah. The way he's going, he'll lay it down and he'll beat it out.
It'll be a double.
Yeah. His average up to 291, which is pretty darn good. He's already driven in more runs than he drove in last year.
He has a big hole on the left side. Will he bunt? Yes, he will, and he pulls back 1-0. You want him bunting here, Ken?
Yeah, let's see who's up next. We got a left-hander up next. You know what? Square to bunt, send the runners and let him swing, because he makes contact.
Ray is swinging here and takes down 2-0.
Yeah, I would. There's a left-handed hitter coming up next.
And you've had 2 hard hits to begin this inning.
And the Astros bullpen's up again.
It is James Hoyt.
And another reason I might let him swing, because he runs pretty well and he's tough to double up. So.
And And now 2-0, you would think he will be swinging. Takes high, 3-0.
The Astros bullpen so far tonight has not distinguished itself. Phillies had a rough time of it. Goudouin now is in trouble.
This is an Astros pen that leads the American League in strikeouts. Middle of the pack when it comes to ERA. And that's ball 4, not even close, as the Yankees have loaded the bases looking to add on to the 6-3 lead. Here comes Tyler Wade.
What did I say? Let him take 4 pitches?
Yeah. That was the game plan. Ten of the last 13 Yankees have reached base. Conversation here with Goudouin. You think about it, Ken. The Yankees have been in this rut for a while now. Even in Chicago, splitting the 4-game series, not able to get out of it. A series like this against the best team in baseball, maybe it provides an opportunity for the Yankees to sort of springboard themselves out of this stretch.
It could. Also, I mean, they've got payback on their mind for Houston. I mean, Houston came up to New York and took 3 out of 4. So they want to come down here and return the favor. And if they can do so with a depleted lineup, that can only help. The Astros going to bring the infield in. They got a very speedy runner at the plate.
Wade 0 for 3, reached on an error, struck out twice. And takes outside, 1-0.
Yeah, the first thing that caught my eye about Wade in spring training is how fast he could run. He was turning every infield out he made at first base into a close play.
The 1-0. Ripped, gloved at first. Gurriel throws home, and McCann will tag out Headley. All he needed to do was step on home plate. Hit hard by Wade, but a nice snag by Gurriel. And the run is cut down.
Nice play by Gurriel at first base, who has not been known for his fielding over there. You know, he's played different positions in Cuba, and at first base is kind of a, well, I wouldn't want to say foreign to him. It's new to him. But he makes a throw over the McCann, who couldn't find a plate, but the next best thing is to tag Headley for the out.
So a new pitcher coming in as Carter comes up, bases loaded, 1 out.
And a new WB Mason presents the Joe Girardi Show. This week, the skipper joined his family in his hometown of Chicago for a true deep dish pizza experience. That sounds good. Catch a new episode Sunday at 6, only on Yes.
Well, Joe Girardi has got to be happy with what he's seen from the battle of his team, down 3-1 in this game. He's gotten gritty at bats. Took a 6-3 lead, and now we'll see a new reliever, James Hoyt, in with bases loaded And 1 out. Meredith Marakovitz has taken Joe Girardi some very interesting places this year for the Joe Girardi show. Carter had a big hit in the 6th, the ribby single with 2 outs, and not close on that offering.
Chicago-style deep dish pizza sounds pretty good.
I saw Michael Kay broke his 2.5-month carbless streak for some deep dish Chicago pizza.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shows you how good it is.
I still prefer Joe's in New York. As Carter waves and misses again, 0-2. You ever had Joe's?
Joe Girardi pizza he
No,
made?
no. I don't think Joe makes his own pie. One in the West Village, one in Gramercy. Excellent pizza spot in New York.
All right. When I get up there, I'll try it.
The 0-2. Carter holds up that time. Now, Brian Mitchell has been throwing in the Yankee pen.
He's called up today.
Pineda's pitch count's still in pretty good shape. Carter lays off that time, 2-2. Yankees would love some breathing room here. A little more than the 3 they have.
Yeah, now you got me thinking about pizza.
I don't know if you can find it here in Houston. 2-2. Carter stays alive.
Yeah, Hoyt got away with one. That slider hung a little bit. That was going to destined to be hit hard towards right center. This was going to be up. Yeah, maybe off the plate, and that's why he didn't hit it a little harder. Just spoiled it.
Bases loaded. 1 out, 2-2 count. Carter swings and misses. And it's left to Gardner to try and capitalize on the bases loaded, nobody out, now 2 out situation.
Gardner's had himself a pretty good night.
Couple of hits, couple of runs scored, an RBI. He had one of those 2 out ribby hits in the 6th. And Gardner, who has been cold of late, had 2 hits yesterday in Chicago.
Yeah, it might be time for him to go off on a little binge here.
You mentioned before he can be streaky. Maybe time for a hot streak. That's ball 1.
There are some years where you are more consistent with your hitting. And there are other years where you have your down spots and you make up for it for really hot streaks. Of course, manager would tell you that they want the consistency. They'd like to see you, do something almost on an everyday basis to help the team. But there are the other guys that they know are hot, and they can't wait for them to get up with men on base.
1-0, way outside, 2-0. 5 of the 6 Yankees runs have come with 2 outs in this game. Two-0 to Gardner. Swing and a miss and a breaking ball.
That was the type of swing that sometimes you get when you're looking for a fastball and you don't get it.
Two-one to Gardner. That's down. It's 3-1 with the bases loaded and obviously nowhere to put Brett Gardner.
Well, right now he can look for what he wants. Even if Hoyt makes a good pitch with a strike, he can take it and then make him do it again. But this is where you're really open for business. 3-1. You're looking for something you can really drive hard. Look for something towards the middle of the plate. He has to throw a strike.
Hoyt sets. 3-1 delivery. And the count full. With 2 outs means the merry-go-round will be started here as soon as Hoyt goes towards home. Romine at third, Torreyes at second, and Wade with excellent speed at first. So any ball in the gap down the line, especially with 2 outs in the 3-2 count, you know Wade is most probably going to score. Three-two to Gardner. Dribble foul behind him on a hook. Michael Pineda has gotten plenty of rest between innings over these last couple frames.
Yeah, if this were football, the Yankees would be winning on time of possession.
Runners will all go. The 3-2. Hammered in the air, deep right field, and there it goes. Goodbye. A grand slam for Brett Gardner. And it's a 10-3 Yankee lead.
So what'd you say, Ryan? You might be ready to go off on a little binge here?
I think we're in the middle of it.
Number 15 on the season for Brett Gardner. And that home run is sending a lot of people home here from Minute Maid Park.
9 of the 10 Yankees runs have come with 2 outs.
Well, then again, maybe they'll stick around because there's fireworks after the game. But fireworks right now. Brett Gardner knew it as soon as he hit it. He got that little cutter or slider in, and he knew what to do with it. Manager Joe Girardi watching the pitch to Gardner. Oh boy, it's up. It is good.
And Gardner obviously fired up.
Well, you can't have more people in that meet you at home plate after a home run.
So the Yankees, who have been relentless tonight, despite not having so many of their regulars. And Gardner delivers his 3rd career grand slam. A 2-out bomb into the seats and right. Once down 3-1, the Yankees now lead 10-3. No doubt about that one. Jack and Bob. Time for the game summary brought to you by your local Nissan dealer. A 10-3 Yankees lead thanks to 9 runs, as you heard Jack just talk about, between the 6th and 7th innings. Pineda, very strong start. 6 innings, allowed just 2 earned runs, did not walk a batter. And Lance McCullers, who has been so tough, the Yankees were able to battle enough, elevate the pitch count, and then take advantage of the middle of the Astros bullpen. And here's Brian Mitchell.
Well, we mentioned that Pineda needed a bounce-back start, and he got one. He had a pretty good night. As you mentioned, just 2 earned runs in 6 innings. 3 strikeouts, did not walk a batter, and he gives way to Mitchell here. Of course, the big blow in the game. Brett Gardner, would you say his 3rd career grand slam?
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
And it elevated that Cadillac scoreboard to 10-3. Here's Mitchell, who has struggled at the big league level this season, but you know, listening to all the writers and Scranton and those who've been watching him, I feel like he's found something over the last couple weeks there and coming up at a good time.
Yeah. Well, the Yankees have always liked his arm. He's got a plus fastball, pretty good breaking ball.
In the air down the right field line. Wade moving over, puts it away. Let's check back with Bob Lorenz for an update. Wow, how about that?
Hey, they might meet in the tunnel after the game. Oh, my goodness.
I don't know who I'd take in that battle.
Well, I know on the field I'd take the Dodgers against the Padres. They've been handling those guys all year long.
That one's an easy call.
Yeah.
It's not often you see the managers go toe-to-toe like that.
I'm trying to think if I've ever seen that.
Yeah, when is the last time you've seen managers or coaches?
Usually it's the managers against the umpires.
I mean, we've seen some awkward exchanges between coaches in football from time to time.
Yeah.
There was I believe a Jim Harbaugh, Pete Carroll one at some point.
Doesn't surprise me with Jim Harbaugh.
Well, there was the Jim Schwartz, Jim Harbaugh one as well, when Schwartz was the head coach of the Lions. Swing and a miss. Good looking start for Brian Mitchell thus far through 2 hitters.
And 96-mile-an-hour fastball blows Bregman away. The high heater might have been out of the zone, but Bregman chased it across the plate and couldn't touch it.
By the way, Ken, you mentioned the great job Michael Pineda did bouncing back tonight. He didn't walk a batter, and it was the first time since his 2nd start of the year that he did not walk a batter in his start. And this is a guy who has very good control. It's not like he was walking 4 and 5 batters, but
it wasn't really a big strikeout night for him. Only 3.
Right.
But as last start, where he gave up 3 home runs to the Rangers.
Right.
And in a hitter-friendly ballpark, in the team that's leading the American League in home runs, he kept the ball in the park tonight.
And he has struggled on the road in general this year, but this is an excellent Astros lineup that's firing on all cylinders, and Pineda tamed them nicely.
And several of their hitters came in tonight with hitting streaks going.
2-1 for Mitchell. 2-2. Mitchell has been starting with Scranton. Got stretched out to 6 innings his last start and gave up just 3 hits. Didn't walk a batter while striking out 9.
Yeah, a little 6 a.m. arrival. Like I said, the sun was already up.
Gregorius backhands to his feet. Dug out by Carter. Inning over. A 1-2-3 frame for Brian Mitchell as we go to the 8th. People's United Bank, NA. Michael Pineda, 6 innings, allowed just 2 earned runs, did not walk a batter. Lance McCullers left, having given up just 1 run, but with 2 runners aboard, both of whom scored. And he is held to 5 1/3 innings of work in his 2nd start back off the DL. But just a really good bounce-back performance from Michael Pineda tonight after he has had a rough June. As you see, Luke Gregerson, new reliever for Houston, as the Yankees have torched the Astros pen thus far tonight. And Judge went around 0-1. Hyundai scoreboard, 10-3 Yankees. 9 of the 10 runs have come with 2 outs. Judge a couple of walks in this game. Chases and is behind 0-2.
Yeah, as many walks as he's been getting, you don't want to get too anxious to swing the bat. You want to make them throw strikes. He might have left the strike zone on that one. There's another Judge, Houston Judge.
Swing and a miss. 2nd strikeout of the game for Judge. 1 down.
I think the original owner of the Astros was Judge Roy Hoffines. So he's either a fan of Aaron Judge or going back to when the Astros came into being, Judge Hoffines.
Ken, what you just mentioned, I think, is one of the most impressive parts about what Aaron Judge has done this year. And it's that even as pitchers have shied away from him, he has taken his walks and not expanded the strike zone. You know, that bat was really the exception.
Yeah. Well, sometimes when you're a young player, you want to get hits.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you go to the plate to get a hit, but you got to be willing to accept the walk.
And instead, he has taken his walks, passed the baton.
Well, there's only 2 hitters in the lineup tonight who don't have a hit. Judge is one of them, but he's walked twice, and Tyler Wade's the other. The Yankees have pounded out 13 hits tonight.
Gregorius has 2 of them. Yankees offense has now put up double figures in 2 of their last 3 games. Altuve gets to it and throws out Gregorius for the second out. Let's check in with Meredith, who is going to add some flavor to the Aaron Judge taking his walks conversation.
Well, it's interesting. When we were in Chicago, Frank Thomas was actually in the concourse, and he was asked what he thinks about Aaron Judge and what he's been able to do so far. And obviously, he, along with all of Major League Baseball, has been impressed with his plate discipline in particular. But what Thomas said is he is very interested to see, Kenny, kind of what you alluded to, what happens when teams start walking him more consistently. Can he remain disciplined at the plate? But as of now, Judge just said, hey, you walk me, I'm on base 4 times, that's fine with me. I think we have a good lineup. That means I'm on, and someone else in that lineup can drive me in. So right now, he's content to walk. He sees it as a good thing, but you wonder, any hitter up there, it's got to be hard to be patient in those situations.
Well, that's true, but going back to today, Hall of Famer Frank Thomas was one of the most patient hitters. He drew a lot of walks. One of the best nicknames in baseball history, the Big Hurt.
He had a cold-blooded home run trot, too.
You knew he had gone deep.
In Frank Thomas's career, 1,667 walks. Led the league 4 times.
Yeah. He just didn't leave the strike zone very often.
Three and one on Headley.
It's one of the best nicknames that Hawk Harrelson ever handed out. The Big Hurt.
That is.
Yeah.
And Headley walks. It's an impressive resume. It's amazing that he was only a 5-time All-Star. As great as he was, now obviously you make the All-Star team 5 times, that's a very nice accomplishment. But as perennially good as he was, you would have thought it was even more. 6'5", 275.
Was a tight end at Auburn, but he chose the right sport.
Yeah.
Anytime they put a statue of you out near a stadium, you've done a good job.
That's generally a sign that things worked out.
Yeah.
.521 career home runs, over 1,700 ribbies.
And Yankee fans are wondering if Aaron Judge over the years will put a bigger hurt on pitching.
Swing and a miss.
The Yankees have used the big inning. 5 in the 6th, 4 in the 7th.
4 in the 7th, coming off the bat of Brett Gardner, a 2-out grand slam on a 3-2 pitch. As Romine chases and is retired, and that will do it. The Yankees and Brian Mitchell will take a 10-3 lead to the bottom of the 8th. Stay tuned for the WB Mason post-game. Get highlights and analysis of this game along with reaction from here in Houston right here on Yes. Bob and Jack will take care of the studio. Meredith Morakovitz will work the clubhouse. And those guys are probably going out afterwards.
They'll be off on a cattle drive after the game.
But I'm guessing not with her. On the Hyundai scoreboard, Yankees 10, Astros 3, bottom of the 8th. He got a hug. 2-3-4 for the Astros as Brian Mitchell after a 1-2-3-7 back out there for the 8th.
You had mentioned that Mitchell had been stretched out to minor leagues. He could conceivably finish off this game.
Smack to right center field. Ellsbury will cut it off. No, he won't. Goes under his glove. Reddick is going to try for 3, and he'll make it easily as Gregorius now has to retrieve. And the leadoff runner on here in the 8th.
That could be a double and an error, or maybe they'll score a triple. We'll see. This is Reddick out of the box. He sees it's in the gap. He knows he's got a double. And then the misplay by Ellsbury, and he says, well, I can make it to third. There's Ellsbury overrunning the ball.
It is a double and an E8.
Double E8.
Now, what you just mentioned, Ken, you know Joe Girardi would love for Brian Mitchell to be able to get these final 6 outs. Give that pen another day of rest, because they just have not quite been able to catch their breath in this stretch and normalize. But Tantis and Chapman are rested. And Joe Girardi getting on the phone.
Altuve's had himself another good night. A couple of hits, RBI, and a sac fly. Almost got him.
Up the middle to Reyes, backhands and throws out Altuve. Run scores, but the Yankees will take that trade. 1 out here in the 8th. Taking a look at the up to the minute All-Star game balloting in the American League. Have a lot of players here tonight who are preparing to start. Correa and Altuve up the middle. George Springer, one of the outfielders, and of course Aaron Judge. All-Star game on Fox July 11th in Miami. And many wondering whether or not Aaron Judge will participate in the Home Run Derby. Has not yet officially made up his mind or said one way or another.
I think a lot of fans would like to see that. I think I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
He and Giancarlo Stanton go at it, among others.
Maybe Bellinger.
Yeah.
Miguel Sano has committed.
There's some power hitters in that group.
Some nice steam going into All-Star weekend with the young talent in this league. Carter gobbles it up. 2 outs. Carter had a big hit earlier in this game.
Been a lot of big hits in this game for the Yankees, and as you said, a lot of them with 2 outs. Those are the kind of really pump teams up when you can come through with 2-out hits and put those runs on the board.
In a 3-2 game, Carter had a 2-out single that tied it. And then Gardner and Ellsbury fouled with 2-out hits. That was in the 6th. And the Yankees put up 4 more with 2 outs in the 7th, courtesy of the grand slam from Gardner. McCann beats the shift, slaps that the other way. Saw the outside breaking ball and said, okay, I'll take the base run.
He kind of blocked it off and just said, there's nobody home over there. And as you can see, nobody near this ground ball. And he has himself a base hit. A gimme single.
Jordan Montgomery will be tomorrow's starter. That game on Fox. Extra innings on Yes following the conclusion of that game in what could be Clint Frazier's first major league game. We heard Meredith reporting about that earlier. Headley will throw out Beltran, and Mitchell is through the 8th as we go to the 9th. This is brought to you in part by Buick. Visit TriStateBuick.com for great lease offers. By People's United Bank NA, keep business at hand with mobile cash management. And by your Tri-Honda dealers, hurry to your local Tri-Honda dealer for great deals on the 2017 models. Friday night in Houston, the Yankees offense has forced Nori Aoki to the mound. The outfielder for Houston is instead going to pitch as A.J. Hinch has run through his bullpen, and we talked about it before, Ken. They have been used a lot of late.
Well, he's trying to save an arm, keep Gregerson to 1 inning. These situations are always kind of interesting. There's a certain amount of levity involved because you don't want to make an out against an outfielder or an infielder.
Reyes hasn't made any outs so far tonight. 3 hits and a walk, a couple of runs scored.
Yeah, you know, after real pitchers, you've had a good night, and an outfielder comes and gets you out. You don't want that to happen. Not
close. This is Aoki's first career appearance on the mound. Now, he was a pitcher throughout junior high and high school, but he converted to the outfield once he went to college.
Look out.
Whoa. If Reyes was 5'10", that would have hit him.
Yeah, this is for all the time somebody brushed him back. Up and in to Torres.
And ball 3 up and in as well.
You know, you could probably go to anybody on the field and they have pitched at one time or another growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just.
And Torres walks. just counting how many hitters till Judge gets to face Aoki. Tyler Wade
looking for his first hit.
Yeah. It's gone up with men on consistently tonight. Last time, bases loaded, nobody out. Hit it hard, but a nice snare at first by Gurriel. Went home for the out.
He's been consistent, 74.
They're not holding on to Reyes. Reyes staying anchored, though, as Aoki throws ball 2.
He's having trouble getting the ball down.
Yeah.
Might be time for the pitching coach to go out and talk to him.
Maybe they should send the hitting coach.
Yeah.
And it's 3-0 on Wade.
I bet you it was a long time since he was in junior high school. And in high school. Yep.
And he hasn't been close. 2 walks from Aoki.
Some plate's moving around on him.
But once you've committed to this, if you're AJ Hinch, you just got to ride it, right?
Well, let's see what's going on out there in the bullpen. I see people moving around, but nobody's throwing.
He's already used 4 relievers.
See, the last thing you want to do is kind of burn up your bullpen in the opening game of a 3-game series. That's one of the last things you want to do.
There's a strike.
You kind of knew that was coming.
Oh, that guy is fired up.
Yeah.
If he grooves one, this could go a long way.
Well.
And that one is off the end of the bat, but over the head of Gonzalez. Torres will score. Wade to third. Carter at second with an RBI double.
Second run batted in of the night for Chris Carter. His 5th 2-base hit of the year, and this was a line drive that Marwin Gonzalez looked like he had a beat on it, but then it got in an extra gear and went over his head. Still nobody out.
And Brett Gardner already with 5 ribbies. His career high is 6.
And Aoki now has himself an earned run average in the big leagues.
Gardner also a triple away from the cycle. I'm not sure that was ever a goal of Aoki's.
To have an ERA?
To have an ERA, yeah.
No.
I don't know if he put that one up on the dream board. Now, if Gardner hits the gap, is he going to go for 3?
I would, because you've got center fielder Springer playing towards left center. The big gap is in right center. If he fills that gap, it's going to be a 3-base. You just keep going.
Gardner smacks that deep to right. Reddick makes the leaping catch. Carter will tag and go to third. Coming home to score is Wade. If that goes over the head of Reddick, Gardner may have been trying to stretch it depending on how it bounced. Instead, it's a sac fly for Brett Gardner and his 6th RBI, which ties a career high.
Yeah, this is a rocket, and a good play by Reddick. He twists and turns and comes up with it. We've always said the toughest play for an outfield is a line drive directly at you. There's no real angle of pursuit, and he makes a nice play in right field. Turned the wrong way, had to turn back the other away, and made the catch.
Ellsbury up the middle, fielded by Correa. He'll retire Ellsbury. Carter will score. And the Yankees tack on another run. It's 13-4, and we get the Aoki-Judge matchup. I think this is exactly how Nori Aoki thought his day was going to go.
That's the first swing and a miss he's gotten in the big leagues.
Game, him on the mound. You're just trying to go yard if you're Judge here.
You just want to hit the ball hard. You know, if he makes enough of a mistake and Judge hits it, he didn't really have to hit it all that hard to get out of the ballpark.
Just missed it. A mile high to center. Springer will put it away, and that will end the inning. But the Yankees add a few more. It's 13-4 as we head to the bottom of the ninth. For tomorrow, Jordan Montgomery, who's been in a great stretch for the Yankees, impressive rookie, against Francis Martez, who is a talented young arm for Houston, has not gotten the results yet here in the bigs. Yankees extra innings on Yes, following the game on Fox. Rob Refsnyder has taken over in left field, so Brett Gardner gets a jump start on the Showers after tying a career high with 6 ribbies. This was a game that the Astros felt sort of in control of, a 3-1 lead. Yeah. McCullers throwing well. The Yankees just grinded out at bats. Big 2-out hits. Very nice performance from Michael Pineda. And now a 13-4 lead and 3 outs away.
Yeah, the pitch count got him. That's got him out of the game, and the Yankees went to work on the Astros pen.
1 pitch, 1 out here in the ninth. Yankees didn't get to bed till after 6 a.m. And they have not looked like a tired group today.
And maybe they should try that again tonight. Joe Girardi lift curfew. The curfew is you can't come in before 6.
Yes. We know there were many a player who tested that theory in their careers.
Yeah, there was some. There was some, I'm sure.
I won't ask you to name names.
Nah.
Hit hard to Gregorius. 2 down. Yankees 1 out away. And Brian Mitchell also 1 out away from being able to do something the Yankees pen has not lately, and that's come in with a cushion and hold it so that the rest of the pen can get a day off. sort of that game within the game in 162. We saw the first game in Chicago, how that hurt the Yankees, that they had to end up going to Betances and to Chapman, and the trickle-down effect. Driven in the air to center. Ellsbury will track it and end it as the Yankees win it 13-4 the final, and the Bombers take game one of this three-game set against the Astros. Well, Joe Girardi's team looked plenty rested after late night and weary travels. The Yankees, against the best team in baseball, take game one 13-4 behind some really complete at-bats, a grand slam from Brett Gardner, and nice work from Michael Pineda, and then Brian Mitchell out of the pen. Brian Mitchell gets his first career save. Pineda ends his June swoon, and the Yankees win it 13-4 as we send it to Bob in the studio.